Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. My beast has unlimited evolution. Chapter 61. Early the next morning, the bright sunshine shines on the earth. However, due to the very special geographical location of Imperial College. Even so, there was also an unspeakable coolness in the air. Fortunately, most of the people living here are beast masters, so it doesn't matter. Limo walked on the street, followed the instructions on her student ID card, and started to come to her classroom. Here at this time, it's already full of people. This place is very similar to the university in the previous life. There are basically no fixed seats and everyone can find their own place. Limo was about to find a seat and sit down when he saw a familiar figure. Surprisingly, it was Zhao Shanshan. Here, Limo. Zhao Shanshan also saw Limo and immediately waved to him. At this moment, 770, most of the male students' eyes were focused on Limo. The young and beautiful Zhao Shanshan has already attracted their attention. Unexpectedly, I haven't waited for them to take action. Then I saw Limo, who was suspected to be the other party's boyfriend. How can they not feel jealous? Limo responded calmly to these looks, sat directly next to Zhao Shanshan, and said, I didn't expect that we are in the same class, our fate is really good. Yes, please give me your advice in the future. While the two were talking, a middle-aged man who looked like a teacher had already walked in. Hello everyone, starting from today, I will be your teacher for the next 4 years. My surname is Shen and my name is Shen-san. I sincerely hope that in our class, there will be great beast masters who will leave their name in history. Shen-san began to talk endlessly. In addition to the usual chicken soup, he also explained some precautions. Limo also learned more about the college knowledge. Basically, the major campuses of Imperial College. All students in each grade are separated, even between major classes. There are divisions between regions. The cultural classes here can be said to be very relaxed. Basically, except for one class every morning, the rest is students' own study time. Most students can spend credits to hire specialized teachers to guide their training. Even if you have enough credits, it's perfectly okay to skip class blatantly. No one will pay any attention to you. After the long speech, Shen-san finally started class. Although Limo was very considerate, he completed the class completely. But I have already made up my mind. Future cultural classes. He was determined. That little cultural course credit. He really didn't take it seriously. After Limo said goodbye to Zhao Shanshan, he immediately started to log into the task interface through his student ID card. In an instant, countless tasks arise on it. These tasks can be said to be everything from small to large. It can be as small as helping with cleaning, helping people hunt for fixed beasts, or even as big as a city being threatened by a tide of beasts. It can be said to be everything. Limo quickly selected tasks. Those were so boring that he quickly skipped them. As for other tasks that obviously required a monarch-level beastmaster to solve, he didn't even look at them. Finally, his eyes rested on a task. This is a rescue mission. The reward credits are as high as 1,000. However, the mission location is in Dadong City. Limo immediately left Imperial College and purchased a ticket to Dakong City. Otora City Station. Limo walked out lightly. Someone came to greet him immediately. This has already been contacted. The person who issued the mission at Imperial College was none other than the Mu Group, which was quite powerful in this city. They are an emerging group. Therefore, the strong foundation is not as sufficient as other Millennium groups. This cost a huge price. Issue tasks in Imperial College. You are Mr. Limo, please come here. A man who looked like a butler quickly took Limo into a large bus. After Limo sat on it, found that there were already 6 people here. These 6 people were obviously not in the same group. You can tell from their riding position. Sitting at the front are 2 young men. They are wearing uniform black suits and have a very friendly attitude towards the housekeeper. They should be from the Mu group. And a little later, there was a woman with heavy makeup, who was playing with a knife in her hand boredly, showing a weird smile from time to time. Behind him, there were 2 old men with gray hair, closing their eyes and relaxing. At the very back of the bus, a stern-looking man sat, staring out the window with an indifferent expression. Limo noticed that the psychic powers of everyone present were all above 3 stars, and it could be said that there was no one weak. Now that everyone has arrived, I believe everyone already knows that the eldest young master of our Mu group disappeared in the 100 Beasts mountain range a few days ago. I hope everyone will do their best. The eldest young master is protected by spiritual tools. There will be no danger in a short time. I leave everything to everyone. Now let's introduce each other to each other so that we can take care of each other during the subsequent battles. The housekeeper looked at everyone present with a slightly tired face. If the family hadn't launched several searches and rescues, the losses would have been heavy. They didn't want to bother outsiders and add unnecessary variables. Now it is the maximum time limit that the spiritual tool can last. If it is really impossible to rescue, then the head of the family can only accept his fate. Haha, now that I've said that, let me introduce myself. A young man sitting at the front stood up and said, "My name is Mu Yi. The missing person is my cousin, and he is my younger brother Mu Zan. I hope everyone can cooperate well." The woman with heavy makeup said with a sweet smile, "My name is Li Shanshan, please help me when I am in danger." "My name is Wang Da, and my name is Wang Er." The two gray-haired old men spoke concisely and to the point. "My name is Lin Fei. I hope no one will hold me back." The man sitting at the back said coldly, "My name is Li Mo, a student of Imperial College." Li Mo also spoke slowly. Hearing Li Mo's words, everyone's expressions couldn't help but be slightly shocked. The gaze towards Li Mo also changed. Identity as a student of Imperial College. It is absolutely valuable to them. Deep in the Beast Mountain range, in front of a huge cave, Li Mo and his party hurried on quickly, and under the leadership of the housekeeper, they finally arrived here. It was already dark at this time. Look around. It was pitch black inside the cave, and there was no light at all. This is the place where the eldest young master of the Mu family disappeared. It gives me a really bad feeling. Wang Da frowned. Looking at everything in the canyon, he felt an inexplicable chill rushing through his body. Now that we are here, there is no reason to retreat. Lin Fei shook his head slowly. Ouch! Xiao Mo, who had been lying in Li Mo's arms, roared first. Did you also sense the danger? Li Mo's eyes flickered, he stroked Xiao Mo's head, and his face became gloomy. With Xiao Mo's strength, still feel uneasy. This canyon is absolutely extremely dangerous. We can only escort you all here. Please take care of the rest. The steward waved his hand, and the dozens of beast masters responsible for protecting everyone have already taken their beasts and voluntarily moved out of the way. Come out, ancient blue wind dragon. Li Mo said softly. The five-pointed star array emerged. The figure of the ancient blue wind dragon has slowly walked out. The terrifying dragon's power continued to sweep across the audience. Dragon Clan, as expected of a student of Imperial College. Yes, he actually has such a powerful beast master. Everyone was amazed when they saw this scene. It's nothing, everyone will help each other next. Li Mo shook his head gently, and his body had jumped on the back of the ancient blue wind dragon. As long as these people don't have any bad intentions, then he will not deny the identity of these people's teammates. That's right, the next step will definitely be extremely dangerous, so the whole family must work together. Wang Da nodded and summoned his own beast, which turned out to be an upright frog. Name, Weird Frog. Level, Commander of the 9th level. Talent, Water Storage. Attribute, Water, King of Fighting. Bloodline, Low Lord level. Skills, Fighting Quintet, Water Wave, Domination Fist. People see this. They also summoned their own beasts for self-defense. Basically, they are all beast masters at the top of the leadership level. Subsequently, everyone observed for a while. Only then did he cautiously walk into it. The cave was obviously darker than the outside. Everyone felt that their eyes were black, and then they got used to the environment in the cave. But even so, their line of sight is still limited. Fortunately, everyone basically has spiritual skills similar to perception, so they are not at a loss. Even Mu Yi and Mu Zan were clearly prepared, taking out a large amount of lighting equipment from their packages and giving them to everyone. Under the shining of light. Only then did the scene inside the cave come into view. I only saw slippery walls all around, and occasionally some messy shrubs. It was basically the same as an ordinary cave. But everyone's expressions were still solemn, because the cave is filled with an extremely strong smell of blood. Everyone moved forward slowly. They walked about dozens of feet away. Only more than a dozen corpses were seen lying on the ground. All of their expressions were distorted, their bodies were full of twisted wounds, and a huge bloody hole was opened on their abdomens. Judging from the dried blood on the ground, they should have died within a few days. These people are not the people sent by our Mu family before. It seems that many people have died here. Mu Yi looked at these corpses, his expression became extremely ugly. Their death conditions are a bit strange. What kind of beast could cause such damage? Wang Er knelt down, looked at a corpse, and frowned slightly. No matter what, we can only continue to go deeper. Li Shanshan subconsciously relied on his own beast control. Everyone nodded. Start moving forward again. Not much time passed. The route ahead began to become complicated, and passages appeared in front of everyone. Go this way. Mu Zan took the device in his hand, glanced at the position of the young master of the Mu family, and pointed to a passage. It's really strange. There isn't even a beast master here. Lin Feng looked around, his expression becoming more and more confused. Logically speaking, in this kind of cave, there are definitely not a few insect-type beasts. Li Mo nodded gently. Just as he was about to say something, his expression suddenly changed. His eyes immediately looked forward, only to see a few extremely weird-looking pythons coming rapidly in this direction. Name, Strange Basilisk. Level, Command the 7th level. Talent, Parasitism. Attribute, Normal. Bloodline, High Commander level. Skills, Tail Flick, Tongue Stab, Dissolving Liquid. They are very fast. Wait until everyone reacts. They are close at hand. Everyone, be careful. Everyone only had time to exclaim. Li Mo, however, remained calm and stretched out one hand suddenly. The illusory hand quickly formed in midair and roared forward. Bang, bang. Several huge pythons hit the illusory hand, causing ripples in it, but they did not break through the shackles of the big hand. Everyone also seized the opportunity. They all commanded the beasts to exit. Various attacks completely submerged these giant pythons. It turned out to be a commander-level ferocious beast. Fortunately, everyone is strong. Wang Da looked at the corpses of several giant snakes and breathed a sigh of relief. If these beasts are encountered alone in the wild, I'm afraid it will be extremely difficult for him to deal with it. Li Mo didn't answer. Compared with the strength of these beasts, their talents made him feel more concerned. You. Daughter, you also the rescuers. At this moment, a figure ran over in the darkness. This was a middle-aged man, and his expression looked extremely panicked. That's right, Mu Zan immediately said loudly, what is the situation here? It's really too dangerous here, those weird snakes. Before the middle-aged man finished speaking, his expression began to distort violently, and his body stagnated in place. What's wrong with you? Mu Yi's expression changed and he wanted to step forward to check, but was grabbed by Li Mo. Wait a minute, there are other life reactions in his body. As soon as Li Mo finished speaking, he saw the middle-aged man in front of him began to roll violently and let out an extremely sad cry. Phew, the middle-aged man's stomach exploded instantly. Under everyone's gaze, a weird python has emerged from his belly. The python began to grow in size rapidly. The aura on his body suddenly expanded from ordinary first level to elite first level, and was still growing slowly. Everyone saw this scene. There was a look of horror on all the faces. Li Mo shot out his void hand and completely exploded the python. Now he finally understood what the parasitic talent meant. These strange snakes can actually use the body of a creature as an incubation place. And it has such a terrifying reproduction and growth rate. It's really terrible. Everyone, please be careful in the future. It's best not to approach those strange snakes rashly. Mu Yi took a deep breath. Good. Everyone nodded solemnly. Everyone moved on. Along the way, they encountered more and more strange snakes, the weakest of which were elite level, and even encountered first level lord beasts. There are even lord level beast masters. I already regret taking this job. Lin Feng's face no longer looked cold and arrogant at first, and he looked a little tired. It's too late to say this now. Li Mo shook his head slowly and said, the real danger is still ahead. Listening to Li Mo's words, everyone was a little confused at first. But after walking forward for several dozen meters, as if they sensed something, their expressions all changed. Next moment, The cave in front of them began to expand infinitely, with countless strange snakes climbing and swimming around. And far away from the strange snake, a figure was protected by the spiritual light, looking at everyone anxiously. This person is clearly the young master of the Mew family. Hiss. All the strange snakes also noticed Limo and others, looking at them with strange snake eyes. Everyone, let's do it. Mew Yi sighed softly. Everyone also nodded silently. At this time, no one dared to hold anything back. Basically, he summoned all his beasts. Even Limo let Xiaomo show up. Next moment, a violent storm of attacks has erupted from the bodies of these beasts, directly heading towards the group of strange snakes in front of them. Boom, boom, boom. Violent roaring sounds continued. The strange snakes exploded after being bombarded. Limo also turned on spiritual equipment protection. Everyone rushed to kill. The attacks from the strange snakes continued to fall. Xiaomo, use a wide range of flame protection to block all attacks as much as possible. Limo immediately issued the order. These strange snakes possess strange parasitic talents. No one knows how they become parasitic. Nothing more than necessity. Limo didn't want to have more contact with them. Others saw this and followed suit. All kinds of protective means were also used in unison, protecting everyone's surroundings with iron barrels. But as time goes by, finally, a strange snake broke through the defense and bit Zemo. Ancient Blue Wind Dragon, Storm Blade. The ancient Blue Wind Dragon roared, and a wind blade swept out, splitting the strange snake into two in an instant. Whoosh. Even so, this strange snake opened its mouth wide, and an extremely weird tongue shot out, directly hitting Limo's defensive spirit shield. Limo stretched out his illusory hand and crushed the strange snake's head into mud, but looking at the tongue that looked like a syringe, he hurriedly said, "Their tongues are weird. This should be their way of parasitism. Don't be hurt by their tongues." Everyone was also shocked. Now we understand how they parasitize. No doubt it can handle one or two. Time passes minute by minute. Everyone and the beast masters began to eat the spiritual fruit. Facing hordes of monsters, be it psychic or physical, they all have huge consumption. Finally, they arrived at the location of the young master of the Mew family, Mew Tong. Watch as help arrives. Mew Tong quickly removed the spiritual tool that was on the verge of destruction, entered the protection of everyone, and said extremely anxiously, "Everyone, get out quickly. There is a big guy who has been sleeping. Don't let him wake up." When everyone heard this, their expressions changed wildly. But right now, the ground was shaken violently. Boom! The ground instantly cracked open. A shrill scream began to echo in the cave. A giant black snake with a length of dozens of feet and an extremely weird appearance has emerged from the earth, staring at everyone with its extremely cold snake pupils without emotion. Name: Strange Snake King. Level: Monarch Level 3. Talent: Parasitism, Rapid Reproduction. Attribute: Normal. Bloodline: Low-level Monarch level. Skills: Tail Flick, Tongue Thrust, Dissolving Liquid, Strange Power. As soon as the Strange Snake King appeared, the strange snakes around him also stopped attacking and made a surrender gesture. Without the pressure of the strange snake, everyone's faces became increasingly ugly. Because the sense of oppression caused by the strange Snake King was countless times stronger than all the monsters combined just now. Ming Zhao. Mr. W. The Monarch level beast, it's over, everything is over. Quote. Lin Fei's face was pale, and his eyes were full of despair. All of them are 3-star beast masters. Facing Lord level beasts, they can still defeat them if they join forces. But if it is the Monarch level, numbers have lost their meaning to some extent. To this strange snake, they were simply ants. The others were also trembling, and compared to Lin Fei, they were no better. Is that the end? Mew Tong had a wry smile on his face. The reason why he can hold on until now is not only due to the spiritual tools, but also entirely because the Snake King has been sleeping and has not taken action against him. Otherwise, although his spiritual tool is of good quality, but he definitely couldn't withstand a few attacks from this Monarch-level Snake King. What should I do now? We're absolutely doomed. Everyone looked at the strange Snake King in front of them, and huge fear filled everyone's head. Give it to me. Limo stared at the strange Snake King in front of him, and slowly walked forward under everyone's doubtful gaze. Xiaomo, use all your strength, the fire of the sun. As Li Mo's voice sounded, Xiao Mo looked up to the sky and let out a long roar. Endless heat radiated from his body. Temperature changes. Make all the surrounding basilisks become restless. Boom! Golden flames burned from Xiao Mo's body. The fire of the sun, which is enough to burn all things, is stirred up. Xiao Mo's surroundings had been burned into magma. Infinite power is exuded. This is. Everyone's eyes widened, and their eyes were full of shock that could not be concealed. The strength shown by Xiao Mo. It was completely beyond their knowledge. It has simply exceeded the scope of a leader-level beast master. But even so, I'm afraid I won't be the opponent of this beast. Wang Er said with a trembling expression. Although he didn't know what kind of power Xiao Mo used. The strength can be improved to this point. But everything has a price. Xiao Mo's state cannot last forever. Even if it is short-lived, it can rival the strange Snake King. It just slows down the speed of their death. He is the next moment. Changes occur in the field. All I could see was that there was a misty light in the originally dark cave. Everyone looked up subconsciously. Dots of light kept flickering above the cave, like stars in the sky. The sky is filled with stars. Li Mo's spiritual energy surged all over his body. Endless starlight falls down. Fire attribute added. As soon as Li Mo pointed it out, the enhanced spiritual technique had already acted on Xiao Mo. Ouch! Xiao Mo looked up to the sky and screamed excitedly. The already extremely vast aura began to rise again, directly reaching an unimaginable level. Roar! The strange basilisk seemed to feel a fatal threat, and while twisting its huge body, it had already rushed towards Xiao Mo. Xiao Mo, CFFC, use all your strength to solve it, charge up, Aurora. White light flashed all over Xiao Mo's body, and with the exertion of his limbs, his entire body turned into a rainbow and struck away. The strange basilisk opened its bloody mouth, and endless dissolving liquid surged out of his mouth. Boom! The sun's fire all over Xiao Mo's body began to rage. The entire cave was illuminated with golden light. Under everyone's gaze, Xiao Mo seemed to have turned into a real sun and crashed directly into the solution. Under the blazing fire of the sun, all the dissolved liquid had no time to touch Xiao Mo's body, and was already burned into nothingness. The next moment, Xiao Mo has already slammed into the mouth of the strange basilisk. Boom! Endless golden flames soared into the sky, directly completely covering the head of the snake-shaped monster king. The golden flame spread quickly, directly burning the snake-shaped monster king's body completely. The serpentine king let out an extremely shrill wail. The body rolled violently on the ground. The entire cave began to vibrate continuously. All the strange snakes were trembling. But this situation did not last long. The snake-like monster king's body had been burned by the fire of the sun and turned into ashes on the ground. With the death of the snake-like monster king, all the serpentine monsters also began to struggle fiercely on the ground, and eventually they lost all life, and even their bodies were dissolved. What is happening? Muzan looked at this scene with a look of surprise and uncertainty on his face. I read in an ancient book that they should be a symbiotic race. The living conditions of this ethnic group are very strange. As long as their king dies, the entire ethnic group will quickly decline. There was a thoughtful look on Wang Da's face. This is the only reasonable way. Li Shanshan also said with a lingering fear. Otherwise, with their parasitic methods, I am afraid that the entire 100 Beasts mountain range will be occupied by them in a short time. No matter what, let's get out of here first, Li Mo said. Good. Everyone quickly returned the same way. Seen along the way, all were melted basilisk corpses. Wait until they leave the cave. The housekeeper immediately noticed Mu Tong's figure and immediately came down with great surprise. Thank you so much for your help. We successfully rescued the young master. The reward we promised in advance will be delivered to you immediately. Mu Tong looked at the housekeeper and smiled, then completely fainted. Within these few days, his spiritual energy has long been exhausted. He was also under tremendous mental pressure. Now that I relax, I can no longer hold on anymore. Master, the housekeeper immediately exclaimed, summoned the medical staff prepared in advance to treat Mu Tong, and then said to everyone again. Now, please rest a little, we will arrange for you to leave the 100 Beasts mountain range immediately. I'm going to see how the young master is doing first. Everyone was completely relieved at this time and began to rest in place under the protection of the surrounding beast masters. Limo also found a corner to sit down, while feeding the ancient blue wind dragon and Xiaomo spiritual fruits, and then use the spiritual technique Spring Breeze and Rain to help them recover from their injuries. After a series of wars, the two people still suffered more or less injuries, but fortunately they were not serious. Limo could completely deal with them using spiritual skills. But the good news is that, after this great battle, whether it's Xiaomo or the ancient sky dragon, the strength of both people has improved by one level. As expected of a student of Imperial College. Not far away, Wang Da and several others were chatting, with expressions of emotion on their faces. Yes, compared with him, I really feel like I have spent my whole life on a dog. But even for a student of Imperial College, isn't that too strong? That's right, I've also come into contact with students from Imperial College, but they are definitely not that strong. Wang Da shook his head and sighed, people are different. Haven't you ever thought that we are probably witnessing the birth of a legend? As soon as the words came out, everyone looked shocked, but then nodded in agreement. Limo returned to Imperial College. I am checking the 1,000 credits I just received. His mobile phone rang. Hey, Limo, what have you been doing these days? Are you at school now? I just finished a mission and just came back. Is there anything you can do? Then come over quickly and I'll send you the location right away. The members of the Beast Controlling Club are setting up the arena. It's fun to watch. I won't tell you whether I can enter or not. Limo looked at the hung-up phone, pondered for a moment, and walked over according to the location sent by Su-hai. Soon, he came to a small square. This is exactly the activity area of the Beast Control Club. At this time, the place is already crowded. A large number of new students are pouring in here. Here. Su-hai saw Limo's arrival and immediately waved to Limo. Limo stood next to him and said, "What happened? Why are there so many freshmen gathered here?" "Haha, you will know in a moment." Su-hai patted Limo on the shoulder and said with a smile, "It will start soon." When Limo followed the crowd into the venue, I just found a seat and sat down. He only saw the middle of the battlefield ahead. Out came a voice holding a megaphone. I believe that everyone who showed up here has received our leaflet, but I still need to reread the rules here. My name is Lu Jiel, and I am the president of the Beast Controlling Club. I also proposed this battle, and it is completely open to first-year freshmen. We will give out 100 credits as a reward for every battle. As long as you can defeat the members of our battle club, you will get these 100 credits. But on the other hand, if you want to participate, you must pay 5 credits. Listening to Lu Jiel's words, Limo's eyes also lit up. Have to say, the opponent's calculation was very good. Hold an event like this. Not only can they increase their visibility in the war club, but they can also recruit more fresh blood. The most important is, under normal circumstances, freshmen will never be able to defeat old students. They can cut leaks from these new students. Not many credits are earned though. But the accumulated amount is absolutely objective. There are still many freshmen who would be tempted to use 5 credits to try to get 100 credits. As Lu Jiel finished introducing the rules, a member of the Beast Control Club has already stepped onto the ring. It means the battle has officially begun. Soon, one new student paid his credits and started the official challenge. Come out, 3 bulls. With a shout from the new student, a beast has appeared on the battlefield. Name, 3 bulls. Level, Commander of the 9th level. Talent, Ironhide. Attribute, Fighting. Bloodline, High Commander level. Skills, War Trample, Death Collision, Back Throw. The members of the fighting club also released their own beast, which was a shark standing upright. Name, Shark with Sharp Teeth. Level, Commander of the 9th level. Talent, Steel Teeth. Attribute, Water. Bloodline, Low Lord level. Skills, Water Wave, High Pressure Water Cannon, Iron Broken Teeth. It's really a good plan. Limo looked at the attributes of these 2 beasts and shook his head gently. He could tell, the strength of the sharp-toothed shark is only slightly higher than the strength of the 3 bulls. It is very likely that the members of the Beast Control Club have already estimated the strength of ordinary freshmen. Thus, even if they can win, it won't be too smooth. It will also inspire other freshmen to have a steady stream of challenges. And this battle was just as Limo expected. After a period of fighting between the two, Sharptooth Shark won the victory with some difficulty. And at this moment, the atmosphere in the field was completely ignited. Countless freshmen have participated in the challenge. Limo also chose to sign up. As freshmen stepped forward one by one, the opponent also occasionally changes his beast to fight against other members. But there are no exceptions. The opponents all achieved victory with great difficulty. It's finally my turn. Limo heard the roll call and walked to the ring at that moment. I think I've seen him before. His name is Limo. Yes, his ancient blue wind dragon is very strong. I have some impressions. Come on Limo, you must win and give our freshmen a chance. Limo looked at the opponent and still chose to send out the sharp-toothed shark, and directly release the ancient blue wind dragon. The huge dragon power swept all directions in an instant. All members of the Beast Control Club saw this scene. His expression changed instantly. The ancient blue wind dragon, please advise. As Limo finished speaking, an endless storm swept across the entire place. Wind blades crisscrossed the area. It was easy to kill the sharp-toothed shark completely in an instant. Limo's opponent was stunned for a moment. Although he knew something was wrong the moment he saw the ancient blue wind dragon. But I didn't expect it. The sharp-toothed shark was defeated so quickly. Could it be that today's new life? Is it really that strong? I really didn't expect to meet a new student with a monarch-level bloodline to control beasts. Lu Jiel was also greatly surprised when he looked at the ancient blue wind dragon. President, just let me do it. A chubby student next to him said. Forget it. Lu Jiel glanced at the other party, shook his head gently, and said, although 100 credits is nothing, we can't let a new student damage our morale like this. Leela, you go. Quote, good. A student with a dull face and black-rimmed glasses stood up and walked straight towards the battle site. It's him. Leela, if I remember correctly, he is a core member of the Beast Controlling King. I really can't afford to lose. I sense such a powerful person all of a sudden. It can't be said that Limo's strength is obvious to all. If the other party doesn't send stronger members, it won't be a waste of credits. Some people recognized Li Li's identity. All of a sudden, there started to be a lot of discussion in the field. Leela remained calm and directly released his beast. Name, Flame Bird. Level, Lord level 4. Talent, none. Attribute, Fire. Bloodline, Intermediate Lord level. Skills, Flame Burst, Flame Wind, Wing Strike 6. The Ancient Blue Wind Dragon, 7 blades in 1. Limo looked at the flame bird in front of him and immediately gave the order to the Ancient Blue Wind Dragon. In an instant, there was a strong wind in the entire venue. 7 wind blades merged into one in midair. It turned into a huge wind blade that ripped apart everything, and shot out directly forward. Flame bird, flames explode. The flame bird chirped, and as its wings flapped, a large amount of flames surged out. But the next moment, something happened that shocked everyone. I only saw the extremely terrifying wind blade tearing through the flames instantly, and finally bombarded the flame bird. Whoosh! The figure of the flame bird flew out upside down, directly hit the wall behind it, and finally slowly slid to the ground, instantly losing the ability to continue fighting. Zero Sanchi. No way, are you kidding me? If anyone sees this, all opened their mouths. A Lord-level beast. Unexpectedly, he still couldn't escape the fate of being killed instantly. The strength of this ancient blue wind dragon. Just how powerful is it? Continue. Limo's expression remained unchanged and he continued to speak. Lu Jiel's expression changed and he once again pointed out a member to come forward. This person is obviously stronger than Leela. But in front of the powerful ancient blue wind dragon, it was defeated after just a few rounds. Next, under everyone's stunned gaze, one by one, members of the Beast Controlling Club stepped onto the stage. The members of these fighting clubs are getting stronger and stronger. In the end, the ancient blue wind dragon, which had been forced, had to use elemental amplification. But all without exception, defeated. It didn't take long at all. Limo has earned thousands of credits. Lu Jiel, who had been sitting on the chair, was also a little restless, and his face became increasingly ugly. Such a loss. Even if their beast fighting club has sufficient funds, it is still a little painful now. Finally, wait until another member is defeated. Lu Jiel could no longer hold back, stood up from his seat, and slowly walked onto the ring. The president of the Beast Control Club has also been dispatched. He is a third-year student, so he has a head now. What's interesting, I think Li Mo is in danger. The opponent's strength is definitely not something that our freshman can handle. What does it matter? Li Mo is still proud of his defeat, and he has won so many credits. He is making a lot of money. From what you said, it seems that is indeed the case. All the freshmen in the field started talking about it. Hey, what do these guys know? Su Hai curled his lips in disdain and began to shout loudly to the audience. Come on Li Mo, just blow up that president and let everyone see how powerful you are. Quote. Su Hai has blind confidence in Li Mo. At least he's never seen it. Li Mo was defeated, and in the field at this time. Lu Jiao looked at Li Mo with a wry smile on his face and said, I really never thought that I would be forced by a freshman to the point of killing myself. There's nothing we can do about it. Li Mo shrugged and said, this kind of thing is full of surprises. It seems that you are very confident. Lu Jiao raised his eyebrows slightly and said, however, although your ancient blue wind dragon is very strong, I have seen its limit and will definitely not be my opponent. How about giving up? Who said I would send the ancient blue wind dragon to play? Li Mo blinked his eyes with a playful expression. Oh, Sun Jiao frowned slightly. I don't know why. I always feel something bad. Come on, Black Thunder and Purple Electric Bear. Sun Jiao shook his head, dispelled the distracting thoughts in his mind, and summoned his beast. Name Black Thunder Purple Lightning Bear. Level Lord Level 5. Talent Thunder Force Field. Attribute Thunder. Bloodline Low Level Monarch Level. Skills Black Thunder Roar, Purple Lightning Flash, Thunder Claws, Thunder Driving. Not bad, it seems that it can let Xiao Mo stretch his muscles. Li Mo took a look at the properties of the Black Thunder and Purple Electric Bear, and a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Next moment, Xiao Mo, who had been sleeping in Li Mo's arms, had escaped and appeared on the field. Everyone looked at the extremely cute Xiao Mo with confused faces. They couldn't figure it out. Why didn't Li Mo dispatch the ancient blue wind dragon? Instead, such a cute little thing was dispatched. Do you want to lose on purpose? Roar. The Black Thunder and Purple Electric Bear looked down at Xiao Mo, but it roared like a warning. Although Xiao Mo was not even as big as one of his fingers, he instinctively sensed danger. Ouch! Xiao Mo let out a huge roar that didn't fit his body at all. The long wolf howl echoed continuously in the venue. Its body shape also began to gradually grow in size. Under the influence of the multiplied skills, its figure has slowly expanded to the same level as the Black Thunder and Purple Electric Bear. What did I see? The storm-chasing wolf who can use multiplication skills. Look carefully, this beast is definitely not the wind-chasing wolf, otherwise Ji wouldn't have sent him. Everyone looked at Xiao Mo, who was like a small mountain, and they also let out bursts of exclamations. This time, it's really hard to handle. Feeling the pressure from Xiao Mo, Lu Jiao's eyes became extremely solemn, but he still ordered. Black Thunder and Purple Lightning Bear, use Thunder Armor, Purple Lightning Flash. The figure of the Black Thunder and Purple Lightning Bear immediately stood upright, and the purple and black thunderbolts all over his body kept flashing, completely covering his figure. Whoosh! Everyone only saw a flash of purple light. The Black Thunder and Purple Electric Bear had quickly approached Xiao Mo at an incredible speed. Xiao Mo didn't wait for polite orders, he roared directly, white light flashed all over his body, he charged up and exploded with all his strength, and a claw flashing with flames was already blasted out. The Black Thunder and Purple Lightning Bear showed no sign of weakness, and rushed forward with its paws flashing with purple and black thunder. Boom! The moment the two met, the ground instantly cracked open. The entire battle venue began to tremble. Endless thunder and flames intertwined in midair. Boom! 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 The violent roaring sound continued to resound in all directions. The Black Thunder and Purple Electric Bear and Xiao Mo were fighting fiercely like wild beasts. If not all the arenas in Imperial Academy are constructed of special materials. I'm afraid it has already broken apart under the battle between the two. Li Mo nodded secretly while watching. At this time, Xiao Mo's strength made him very satisfied. Basically under normal conditions, he can already fight evenly with the Black Thunder and Purple Electric Bear. Xiao Mo, time is almost up. Maximize the multiplier and then use the charge. Xiaomo looked up to the sky and roared. Under everyone's shocked eyes. His body began to expand infinitely. It has expanded several times. Waves of white light also appeared on his body, and a terrifying aura swept across all directions instantly. Boom! Xiaomo struck out with his claws, and terrifying power descended on the Black Thunder and Purple Lightning Bear, embedding him directly into the ring. Roar! The Black Thunder and Purple Electric Bear let out an unwilling roar. Finally, he fainted completely. At this moment, there was already silence in the field. Everyone's eyes widened. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I lost. After being stunned for a long time, Lu Jiel came to his senses and said with a wry smile on his face. There is no one here who can be your opponent. If you still need to continue the competition, I will contact other members now. No need. Li Mo shook his head gently and said, I'm a little tired today, so let's call it a day. After saying that, Li Mo has already walked off the ring. Walked towards the outside of the venue. Lu Jiel looked at Li Mo's back with a look of gratitude on his face. Of course he knows. Li Mo just made an excuse. Based on the strength shown by the other party, you can definitely keep fighting. Thus, I'm afraid they fight. It will completely become a tool for Li Mo to earn credits. Losses suffered. It's simply unimaginable. Yes, it's really an unexpected surprise this time. I actually got thousands of credits just like this. Li Mo looked at his student's political performance with a smile on his face. Haha, Li Mo, you are so amazing. Su Hai hugged Li Mo, his face full of excitement, and said. If you ask me, Li Mo, just set up a stage and compete with credits. I'm afraid it won't be long before your credits reach an extremely terrifying level. When Li Mo heard Su Hai's words, his expression couldn't help but shook his head gently. The plan mentioned by Su Hai does have certain feasibility. But it's not very safe. After all, his strength is at this time. In this Imperial College where experts gather. It has not reached the level of invincibility. If we really set up an arena as Su Hai said, I'm afraid it's really a waste of money. After breaking up with Su Hai, Li Mo went back to his dormitory to make some simple repairs. Just start doing tasks like crazy. Only in this way. Only then could he gather the credits to purchase Void Wood as soon as possible. But as time goes by, however, the increase rate of Li Mo's credits has slowed down. Because there are very few tasks like the Mu family. As for other high credit assignments, it's really too dangerous. Even he didn't want to try. But on this day, Li Mo found that a new task was refreshed in the taskbar. For federal military support tasks, credit points are awarded based on specific performance. Li Mo looked slightly happy when he saw this scene. He had heard of this kind of mission before. The federal military occasionally issues such missions. First, it is to attract talents and allow students from Imperial College to experience military life. Secondly, it is also to cultivate strength for human beings and hone real geniuses. And generally such tasks, if your strength is outstanding, it's very possible to earn a lot of credits. Certainly. Gains also come with dangers. In every mission, a large number of students will die in this mission. But just stay alive. Their strength will improve dramatically. Li Mo didn't hesitate at all and directly chose the task. A few days later, in a venue, a large number of students gathered here. All of these people are students participating in military missions. And at the front of the venue, several huge aircraft are hovering there. These aircraft can be said to be one of the highest technological achievements of mankind. The cost of each one is astronomical. These aircraft have extremely high anti-strike capabilities and terrifying speeds. Flying in the sky, even the monarch-level beast masters are unable to separate themselves. And at this time, a middle-aged man in military uniform had stepped out of an aircraft, holding a loudspeaker in his hand and said in a deep voice, I believe you all already know that you will be sent to various military bases next. Now, students whose names are read will be asked to go to the designated aircraft number. Li Chang, aircraft number 4. Quote. As the officer was called, students walked out of the queue one by one. Li Mo also found the aircraft he was in and stepped directly into it. Under the command of one of the soldiers, he found his seat. I started to close my eyes and rest my mind. When the seats in the aircraft were full, a cold electronic sound also sounded. The aircraft is about to start. Please activate the protective measures on your seats. The destination of this flight is Black Rock Base, and the flight time will be approximately 36 hours. The countdown before flight starts now, 10.8.1. With a roar, everyone just felt an extremely strong push on their backs. The aircraft soared into the sky at an unimaginable speed and shot off into the distance. It is indeed the highest technological creation. Such a flying speed is really extraordinary. With Lemo's current physique, it didn't take long to fully adapt to the pressure of propulsion. Looking at the changing scenery outside the window, I sighed softly. This kid seems to be a good prospect. If that's the case, let's hone him a little bit. An officer in the corner noticed Lemo, who was calm and composed, and nodded secretly. Dark border. This is a continuous mountain range made up of countless mountains. There are countless human bases here. All of them are the biggest barrier against the beast tide. And here, it is also where students from Imperial College conduct internships. Basically every human base will be allocated to one student. And today, the aircraft landed and descended. Lemo's figure also walked out slowly. The officer on the aircraft looked at Lemo's back and smiled. This is the border of darkness, where all the soldiers are. I hope you can learn something. Is this the base of Dark Frontier? Lemo looked at the extremely large base in front of him and just wanted to sigh, but his expression was slightly condensed. Because it's in the air here. There is a very complex smell floating around. There is the smell of blood, the smell of sweat. These flavors are intertwined. Just one whiff made even Lemo uncomfortable. Even in a corner of the base, Lemo saw several big men who looked like soldiers smoking and drinking blatantly. Is this really the most elite force of mankind? When Lemo saw this scene, the corners of his mouth twitched. Look, everyone, come and take a look. It seems that another student is here for internship. Haha, I remember last time, I was so scared that I peed my pants during the battle. It was really unpleasant. This kid is a little too handsome this time. He'll be gone at a glance. Those guys at the headquarters don't always let us be babysitters. The voices of discussion arose one after another. Everyone looked at Lemo with a look full of teasing. Lemo's expression became serious at this time, because these sights brought him a lot of pressure. That invisible murderous aura, it definitely takes countless killings to form. Although these guys look carefree. But there is no doubt about it. Everyone's strength cannot be underestimated. Lemo looked around and finally looked at an officer. This is a tall, strong man who is 2 meters away. The muscles all over his body were extremely ferocious. Just standing there was like a hill, giving people an extremely terrifying sense of oppression. Lemo walked up to this person and said calmly, Lemo from Imperial College, come and report. Hee, of course I know this. The strong man smiled, took a few steps forward, and the huge figure completely submerged Lemo. He lowered his head and looked down at him, and finally said, You can call me Sundao, but I don't care what your identity is. Since you are here, you must abide by our rules. In our case, whenever a new member reports, we will give him a very warm welcome. After finishing speaking, Sundao had already walked back, and his voice came slowly. Feel the enthusiasm of our soldiers here. I hope nothing happens to you. After Sundao left, several soldiers had already surrounded him. Haha, students from Imperial College, every time you teach them a lesson, you will feel a sense of accomplishment. That's right, boy, hurry up and summon your beast, so that you can see how powerful we are. Lemo glanced at the people around him and said, Although I've heard that newcomers in the army show off their power, I didn't expect it to be done so blatantly. Haha, our place is different from other bases. This is our style. If you can't adapt, get out as soon as possible and don't be embarrassed here. Everyone laughed wildly. If that's the case, then I won't be polite. A smile appeared on Lemo's face. Next moment, he had already taken the lead. His terrifying physique gave him extraordinary speed. In the blink of an eye, he appeared in front of a soldier, and his fist directly hit the opponent's lower abdomen. Bang, accompanied by a muffled sound. The soldier had already flown out, hit the far wall directly, and finally slid down and fell to the ground. Lemo made a sudden move. Everyone was stunned in place. One soldier even went to check his companion's injuries and gasped when he found that the other party had fainted. They are all beast masters. The physique is fed back by the beast master. Absolutely no trivial matter. But he couldn't even receive a punch from the opponent. This student, could it be a beast in human skin? Other things were also reflected, and they all shouted angrily. It's interesting. This is the first time I've met a student who dares to take action. Follow me. Teach him a lesson. What are the rules? Seeing that Limo had no intention of summoning the beast, several soldiers rushed towards him. Limo grinned, looking quite eager to try. He has never really fought with anyone like this. Next moment, he had already rushed forward. The two people rushing at the front obviously had good fighting skills, but they were still killed instantly by his absolute power. Quote. What's going on with this student? Is he too powerful? I thought I heard the sound of bones breaking. Some soldiers screamed in surprise. You guys, how long do you think the show will last? A soldier with an obviously broken arm was very dissatisfied with his fellow theatergoers. Other soldiers, you look at me and I look at you. Finally, I made up my mind. They all rushed towards Limo. I can see it too. Limo is definitely a tough guy. This time, we are teaching the new recruits that if we don't work together, we may really end up capsizing in the gutter. Limo didn't care at all, but became more courageous as he fought. Although the strength of these soldiers' fists and feet was not bad, they were unable to cause any harm to him. He simply ignored them. On the contrary, if he punches the opponent, he will make the opponent Nuo Qianjiao lose the ability to fight. And some soldiers in the distance. I also noticed the situation here. Wait until half of the soldiers on the field have fallen. Finally, some soldiers couldn't hold it any longer and summoned their own beasts without caring about their face anymore. Name: Toothed Beast. Level: Command the 5th level. Talent: None. Attribute: Normal. Bloodline: Lower level Commander. Skills: Storm Fang, Crazy Bite and Kill, burrowing into the ground. This man's behavior seemed to open a hole. All soldiers followed suit. Decorated for a while, the 5-pointed star array continues to emerge. One by one, the beasts jumped out. These beasts are all commander-level beasts. Every beast's body was filled with various scars, exuding an extremely ferocious bloody aura. One can imagine, they have definitely experienced countless life and death battles. Limo looked at the beasts summoned by various soldiers, with a playful smile on his face. In that case, I won't be polite. Come out, ancient blue wind dragon. As Limo finished speaking, a huge 5-pointed star array appeared in front of Limo. The long dragon roar resounded throughout the battlefield. The majestic dragon power swept across in all directions. All the beasts began to become restless. Such an aura. What exactly is this boy's beast? Didn't you hear what he said? It's the ancient blue wind dragon. How is that possible? That's a pure-blooded dragon. The faces of all the soldiers became extremely solemn. As the light of the 5-pointed star dissipates, a huge figure has appeared in front of everyone. It turns out to be true. Looking at the ancient blue wind dragon in front of them, all the soldiers felt suffocated. Ancient blue wind dragon, Storm Blade. Upon hearing the master's order, the ancient blue wind dragon flapped its wings, and endless winds raged, with wind blades sweeping in all directions instantly. Wherever these wind blades pass, the base's hard ground is all divided into two. All the beasts are under the pressure of dragon power. He couldn't move at all. All were knocked out. He fell weakly to the ground. This battle to summon the beast can be said to have just begun and is already over. Limo slowly walked to the side of the ancient blue wind dragon, looked around, and said with a half-smile. This farce should be over. All the soldiers were silent, and the entire field was silent. The strength shown by Limo. It's simply overwhelmingly powerful. Ha ha ha, good, awesome, you actually beat my soldiers into such a miserable state. With a laugh, Sun Dao, who had been in the dark, slowly walked out, looked at Limo as if looking at a rare animal, and finally said, "Wait until I come to the office." Limo immediately took back the ancient blue wind dragon, walked a few steps quickly, and followed Sun Dao. Take the elevator. Limo followed Sun Dao to the top floor of the base and entered his office. Although this office covers a large area, but it seemed very empty. Apart from some training equipment, there is basically nothing else. After the two of them took their seats, Sun Dao was the first to speak. You were really awesome. Just after you arrived at the base, you showed off your power to the veterans. This is the first time you have done so in these years. Li Mo spread his hands helplessly and said, there is nothing we can do about this. Who can make me stronger than them? You brat. Sun Dao was immediately angry, but he still said, I don't want to talk about all the twists and turns, I will just say it directly, I am very unhappy that you beat my soldiers like this. I have to do something, otherwise the soldiers under my command may have opinions about me as a commander. So how are you preparing? A smile appeared on Li Mo's face. Regarding the behavior of a real villain like Sun Dao. To be honest, he didn't hate it. Haha, so refreshing. Sun Dao laughed and said, well, I'll give you a task alone. In the next week, I will let you act alone and go deep into the border of darkness. You only need to hunt 200 commander-level beast cores during this period, and 20 lord-level beast cores will be considered as completing your mission. Of course, I won't let you use the base's supplies and medicines during this period. Li Mo nodded and said, in the eyes of others, this is indeed a lesson to me. However, this task is not mandatory, so you should be prepared to make me bite the bait, right? Of course. Sun Dao grinned and said, as long as you can complete the task I give you, I will make the decision and give you a reward of 1,000 credits, and then let you choose one of the beast-controlling eggs in our base. Li Mo's eyes lit up and he said without hesitation, deal. Have to say, the conditions proposed by Sun Dao were very tempting. Whatever, CFBA, is that 1,000 credits? Or a beast egg? It's all he needs urgently now. Very good. Since you chose to accept this task, I also have the obligation to explain. Sun Dao turned on the projector next to him, and a huge map emerged. Various areas of the map. It is also marked with numbers. I believe you have also seen that these numbers are our regional divisions of the Dark Border. For first-level areas. As Sun Dao spoke slowly, Li Mo also has a more accurate understanding of the Dark Boundary. In the so-called first-level area, most of the beasts living in it are below the elite level. And further up, the beasts living inside are also getting stronger. In the 5th level area, even monarch-level beasts appear occasionally. Even they don't dare to enter at will. As for deeper, it is simply a restricted area of life. Very few dare to set foot in it. You should already be aware of these situations. I will send this map to your student card. I hope you will not rush into areas that you cannot enter. After Sun Dao took a deep look at Li Mo, he issued an order to expel the guest. Wait until Li Mo leaves. Sun Dao's eyes became a little deeper. Hehe, although I do want to teach you a lesson, no one else can ask for such training in blood and fire. Night falls quietly. The border of death appears even more dead and silent under the shroud of darkness. There was only one beast roar, constantly resounding under the night. A huge figure flew quickly at low altitude, blowing gusts of wind. The conditions here are so bad, it's really beyond my expectation. Li Mo, who was riding on the ancient blue wind dragon, murmured in a low voice. From the moment we truly entered the border of death, Li Mo has already realized it. The gravity here is different than usual. It is definitely several times larger than the outside world. Although I don't know the reason, if you are an ordinary person, you may not be able to move here. Even beast masters probably need to use their spiritual energy to slow down the pressure of gravity. However, the influence of these gravity on Li Mo is minimal. With his monster-like physique, such gravity, it's just enough to give him a massage. Ancient blue wind dragon, hurry up. Li Mo patted the ancient blue wind dragon's head and said to it. Because this is only a first-level area, so Li Mo had no scruples at all. He rode directly on the ancient blue wind dragon and drove with all his strength. Dark Border, Level 4 area. Li Mo rode on the ancient blue wind dragon and moved forward slowly at a rather slow speed. Sudden, the ancient blue wind dragon stopped. Li Mo also looked wary and looked into the jungle in the distance. Bang, bang, bang. The sound of heavy objects trampling on the ground was as loud as a big drum. Under the gazes of Li Mo and the ancient blue wind dragon, a huge figure had slowly walked out of the trees. This is a huge black spider. Name, black-haired spider. Level, commander of the 9th level. Talent, none. Attribute, poison. Bloodline, Senior Commander level. Skills, Silk Spinning, Venom, Poisonous Mist, any. Would you like to command the 9th level beast? That's fine. I'll leave it to you, the Ancient Blue Wind Dragon. Limo jumped off the back of the Ancient Blue Wind Dragon and said to it. And at this time, the black-haired spider also noticed one person and one dragon. A ferocious look flashed in his eyes. Next moment, I could only see that with the force of its legs, its body had jumped up, its fangs exuding a fishy smell, flashing with cold light in the night. Roar! The Ancient Blue Wind Dragon roared, dodging the attack of the black-haired spider with an agility that was completely incompatible with his huge body. His tail had already been violently thrown on the body of the black-haired spider. Terrifying power burst out, directly beat the black-haired spider into the air. His huge body crashed into the woods, shattering countless trees into pieces. The black-haired spider that was so attacked shook its head and stood up from the ground. You haven't lost the ability to fight. It seems that the body strength of the beasts growing here is very weak due to the abnormal gravity. Limo was slightly surprised when he saw this scene. Because the Ancient Blue Wind Dragon's tail, although it didn't use any skills, was definitely not trivial. The black-haired spider had just recovered from the pain. Several of its eyes flashed with ferocious color, and a black thread had been spurted out by it, but its target was Limo on the side. The level of cunning is also extraordinary. Limo sneered, gently fanned one hand, and the illusory hand formed in midair. He directly grabbed the silk thread in his hand, and the spiritual energy and power all over his body exploded, forcibly throwing the black cat spider towards the king of midair. Get rid of it, Ancient Blue Wind Dragon, use Dragon's Breath. The Ancient Blue Wind Dragon raised its head, opened its bloody mouth, terrifying energy fluctuations gathered, and a dragon's breath spurted out. Boom! The powerful dragon's breath penetrated directly through the body of the black-haired spider, causing its body to tremble continuously in midair, and finally fell down weakly. Phew! Blood spurted out. The black-haired spider fell to the ground, completely losing its vitality. When Limo saw this scene, his expression did not relax at all. Instead, he looked alert. Even Xiao Mo, who had been in his arms, was released by him. In his psychic perception, I sensed many auras similar to those of black cat spiders. Under the gaze of one person and two beasts. In the surrounding jungle, huge black shadows appeared. It turned out to be a group of black-haired spiders. Spiders also live in groups. And these spiders actually broke the bloodline limit and became the first-level lord, which is simply outrageous. Limo looked around. He could see all the properties of the black-haired spider at a glance, and the corner of his mouth twitched slightly. And at this time, countless black-haired spiders, charge, jump, use spinning, all attacked Limo and the others. Limo remained calm. The protective spiritual equipment had turned into a faint protective shield, and even the Sky Thunder order was held in his left hand, and he ordered in his heart. Ancient Blue Wind Dragon, Elemental Amplification, Storm Blade. Xiao Mo, use your stored energy and kill as much as you want. Get orders from Limo. The Ancient Blue Wind Dragon looked up to the sky and let out a long dragon roar. The wings behind him kept flashing, and the wind blades with increased power instantly cut through the sky. Click, click, wherever the huge wind blade passed, everything was torn apart. Countless black cat spiders were even split into two, creating a large amount of blood. Xiao Mo's body glowed with bursts of white light, like the god of death harvesting life, and he rushed directly into the herd of black-haired spiders. Its speed seemed to be ghostly. Basically every time it comes up, there will be a black-haired spider torn in half. The brutal killings continued. Some black-haired spiders also realized that the Ancient Blue Wind Dragon and Xiao Mo were not easy to mess with, and began to focus on Limo, roaring towards him. Court death. A cold light flashed in Limo's eyes, and instead of asking Xiao Mo and the others to protect him, he held the Sky Thunder token and a large amount of spiritual energy began to pour in. Crackling. Endless thunder shines under the night. In front of this real power of heaven and earth, the black-haired spiders were simply vulnerable and began to fall in pieces. After finishing all this, Limo took out the Pei Yuan fruit from the space ring and ate it in one bite without using the Heavenly Thunder token. After all, it is a spiritual tool of this level. The consumption is too great. That blow just now. Although he tried his best to control it, it still drained nearly 1/5 of his psychic energy. But the thunder just now acted as a good deterrent. In the eyes of all the black-haired spiders, Limo's threat skyrocketed, and his attack intensity dropped instantly. Occasionally, a few black-haired spiders that are not afraid of death will cross Xiaomo and the two beasts, but they will all be beaten away by Limo's illusory hand. Time passes quickly. The night became darker. Wishes of starlight fell, illuminating the corpses of black-haired spiders. The death of these black-haired spiders is extremely miserable. There are basically no complete bodies. Some were split in two. If so, I'll call him. Some even had their bodies torn apart by force. And in the woods at this time, most of the hundreds of black-haired spiders were dead or injured. The remaining black-haired spiders, looking at the two beasts who had been basically unscathed so far from the battle, all showed uncontrollable fear. Finally, fear triumphed over hatred and instinct. They all started running away like crazy. How can it be so easy to run away now? A sneer appeared on Limo's face, and he immediately rode on Xiaomo, leading the ancient blue wind dragon to pursue them. Chapter 71. Under the night. One after another, the black-haired spiders fell one after another under Limo's pursuit. Originally a group of hundreds. At this time, there was only one left in front of Limo. Among its vertical pupils, the eyes looking at Limo were filled with fear. Xiaomo walked forward slowly, and in a flash, a person emerged from the black-haired spider. Phew! Blood spurted out. The body of this black-haired spider was torn apart. Limo saw this scene. He also took a slight breath. The body relied on the ancient blue wind dragon. This battle, he also participated in many. Consumption is also extremely serious. Limo took out a few Pei Yuan fruits from the space ring, gave 2 to Xiaomo and the two beasts, and ate one himself. 957, sat cross-legged on the ground and began to restore his energy. Moment. Limo opened his eyes and murmured softly. The strength of these black-haired spiders far exceeds that of the same level beasts in the outside world. This level of life and death fighting is also very important to my progress. Feeling the spiritual energy in his body, Limo's lips showed a smile. After the battle just now, his spiritual power actually made another breakthrough. Take a step towards the realm of 4-star Beastmaster. Limo turned around and prepared to return the same way, collecting all the cores of the black-haired spiders along the way. But right now, his brows frowned slightly, subconsciously looking into the distance. Xiaomo and the ancient blue wind dragon seemed to have sensed something and entered a fighting state one after another. I only saw a dark green figure slowly walking out from behind the boulder not far ahead. This is a huge lizard with a body length of more than 2 feet. Name: Jungle Monitor Lizard. Level: Lord 9th level. Talent: Steel Skin. Attribute: Normal. Bloodline: High Lord rank. Skills: Color Change, Entangled Tongue, Flying Scales, Leap and Collision. The strength of this giant lizard is absolutely extraordinary. Limo's face was slightly solemn. After the battle just now, he knows deeply the beasts that survive here. I am afraid that the combat ability is generally 1 level higher than that of external beast masters. But I came here just in time. I'll use you to test Xiaomo's strength. Limo smiled softly and said to Xiaomo, I'll leave this big guy to you. Xiaomo chirped and immediately jumped up excitedly, blocking the way of the jungle monitor lizard. Roar! The jungle monitor lizard looked at Xiaomo and didn't run away when he saw it. It seemed to be irritated and roared angrily. Invisible momentum swept out of its body. The jungle lizard stepped on the ground with all 4 feet. When the terrifying power exploded, the ground began to shake violently, leaving afterimages of its body in the air. Xiaomo, gather your strength and use your speed to dodge. Xiaomo's whole body glowed with white light, and he jumped up nimbly. The figure of the jungle monitor jumped past him. It directly shattered the trees not far behind him. Xiaomo, double it. Then use the flame claw. Xiaomo's body began to expand rapidly, and his body became even taller than the jungle monitor lizard. A wolf claw flashing with flames fell on the jungle monitor lizard. Boom! Intense flames shot into the sky. The jungle monitor lizard let out a cry, but its ferocity was unmistakable. It slammed its tail on Xiaomo, knocking him back a few steps. You took Xiaomo's flaming claws head-on, and you only received this little damage. Limo looked at the shallow scars on the jungle lizard's body, and his expression couldn't help but condense. Flying scales. The scales on the jungle monitor's body were completely erected, cutting through the sky like a sharp blade, as if it was about to cut Xiaomo into pieces. Xiaomo, guard the flames. Li Mo immediately ordered from his heart. Hot flames rose from all sides of Xiaomo, and scales cut from them, causing the flames to show huge distortions. Fire attribute added. Li Mo's hand kept sealing, and finally he pointed at Xiaomo's 10 points. Boom! Xiaomo's aura was rising steadily. The flames around him became more violent. But only in an instant. It has already burned countless leaping scales into ashes. Discoloration. The lizard also became restless, his figure gradually became transparent, and finally completely disappeared from Li Mo's sight. Humph, are you invisible? Li Mo snorted coldly, but didn't care at all. This level of invisibility, with his psychic perception and Xiaomo's danger prediction talent, it makes no sense at all. Xiaomo, activate the multiplication with all your strength. Xiaomo looked up to the sky and roared, and his already huge figure began to expand rapidly, and finally it seemed like a small mountain, standing on the earth. Xiaomo took a step forward, and the terrifying power caused the surrounding earth to completely collapse. A claw flashing with flames was already slapping forward. Boom! A terrifying roaring sound exploded. The figure of the jungle monitor lizard appeared, showing an extremely intense interest. Only his extremely tough scale defense was seen. Under Xiaomo's claws, it has been completely broken into pieces. A large amount of flames were burning his wounds, and the scent of pork meat filled the air. Xiaomo, Huo Xiaoyang. Under Li Mo's heartfelt command, Xiao opened his mouth like a giant millstone. Terrifying flames rippled out from his sharp teeth, and bit hard on the jungle monitor lizard's neck. Roar, roar, roar. The jungle lizard howled in agony. The body began to roll continuously on the ground. But he was pinned to the ground by Xiaomo's 2 wolf claws. After a while, the jungle monitor stopped struggling. Completely lifeless. At this time, the aura on Xiaomo's body began to change, becoming more fierce and violent. It is standing there at this time. It's like a ferocious beast that dominates everything. Has it advanced? When Li Mo saw this scene, a look of surprise appeared on his face. After so many battles, except for the ancient blue wind dragon, Xiaomo finally reached the level of commanding the 9th level. Thus, even if you encounter some low-level monarch-level beasts, even if you don't use all your trump cards, you may not be incapable of fighting. 2 weeks later, in front of the base gate, a group of soldiers are gathering together to chat and spank. And the top commander of this base, Sun Dao, was also among them. A soldier with a bandage on his arm said to Sun Dao, "Boss, today is the deadline. Is there any problem with Xiao Wei?" Another soldier smiled and said, "Haha, you guy, the fracture you suffered from being beaten by that student has not healed yet, but now you are caring about him. You know nothing." The injured soldier's eyes widened and he said angrily, "I was taught a lesson by that kid entirely because my skills were inferior to others. When I am stronger, I will definitely regain my place. And that kid is a true genius no matter what. It would be a pity if he just died in the dark border." Sun Dao listened to the arguments of several men, but a smile appeared on his lips. Because under the surveillance video in front of him, a figure riding an ancient blue wind dragon was walking towards the base. It was none other than Ji Mo. Sun Dao immediately opened the base door. Li Mo jumped down from the ancient blue wind dragon and walked towards the direction of the crowd. What's going on with this kid? Looking at Li Mo, everyone was stunned. Because of him at this time, the whole body can be said to be spotless. It's not like I just returned from the dark border, but like I just finished traveling. HMPH, he was unscathed. I think this kid didn't even bother to complete the mission. Instead, he hid in the first level area for 2 weeks. Yes, otherwise it would never be what it is now. Anyway, this kid is self-aware and didn't lose his life in vain. Haha, no matter what, if this is the case, we can laugh at him and make him sick. Some people looked at Li Mo and started talking. Brother Sun, long time no see. Li Mo looked at Sun Dao and immediately waved to him. You kid, you really didn't do anything and just came back from the dark border. Looking at Li Mo's spotless appearance, Sun Dao also showed a hint of suspicion. How is that possible? Li Mo shook his head gently and poured out all the gains from his trip directly from his space ring. In an instant, Densely dense beast cores appeared on the ground. There are even some body materials of beastmasters scattered all over the earth. It's actually a space ring. This guy is really rich. Here, this is the core of a black-haired spider. Are you kidding? This kind of thing is usually found in the tribe. Yeah, how did this kid survive their pursuit? And this is the skin of a jungle lizard. It is a very scary existence among Lord-level beasts. How did he kill it? Everyone looked at everything on the ground and recognized the identities of these things without using special instruments to check them. There were incredible looks on their faces. Lemo's harvest. It's really amazing. You can say it without any politeness. Even for the most elite team in their base, it is very difficult for them to achieve such gains within 2 weeks if they go deep into the dark border. Su Dao looked at all this, took a deep breath, and finally slapped Lemo hard on the shoulder, laughing and saying, "Ha ha ha, it's amazing. It's really amazing. It's true that a hero comes from a boy." The other soldiers also smiled bitterly. Lemo's performance. It really conquered them completely, making it difficult for them not to be convinced. "Hey, brother Sun, what you promised?" Lemo smiled softly and said slowly. "Haha, don't worry, I never do anything to get rich by breaking my promise." Sun Dao laughed and said, "Put away the things on the ground first. Since they are your trophies, they all belong to you. According to the rules, everything you gain from this trip can be converted into credits if you wish." When Lemo heard this, his eyes immediately lit up and he said without hesitation, "Then please trouble brother Sun and exchange them all." "Okay." Sun Dao waved his hand and said to Lemo, "Follow me to the breeding room and select the beast controlling egg that I promised you." Next, under the leadership of Sun Dao, Lemo passed through the password doors and came to a huge room full of greenery. This room covers a very large area, with various trees and vegetation growing there. The young beasts are playing and having fun here. These are all royal beasts that hatch naturally from eggs. They are all born very recently, and they are also good contract partners. Most of my soldiers like to make contracts with them. After all, most of our beast control eggs are harvested in the dark border, so the beast control eggs hatched are still in an unknown state. As Sun Dao walked, he introduced Zemo. Lemo also nodded secretly. What this kind of hatched beast is has been determined, which naturally makes people feel confident. Lemo looked around and saw the attributes of these beasts in his eyes. Most of the bloodlines of these beastmasters are at the commander level, and there are even a few lord-level bloodlines. That's it here. If placed outside, this is definitely an astonishing amount of wealth. How about you, do you want to pick one from here? That flame horse is of lord-level blood. Although it is not as good as your ancient blue wind dragon, it is still quite good. Su Dao said to Lemo. I still want to see other beast-controlling eggs. Lemo shook his head gently. Compared to others, own the system yourself. It is completely possible to see through the properties of the beast-taming egg, and it is too early to make a choice now. Haha, I like being ambitious. Sun Dao laughed and said. I'm not bragging, but there are really some lucky guys who got monarch-level beasts from the beast eggs in the base. As for the hatched ones, although they appeared once, they were never our turn. They were taken away by the superiors as soon as they appeared. Lemo is under the leadership of Sun Dao. Came to another room. This place is filled with densely packed beast eggs. Almost every beast egg has its own incubation box to ensure that they can hatch and grow normally. This is it. Just tell me which egg you have chosen. Sun Dao gave Lemo instructions and didn't hurry. He found a chair and sat down next to him. Lemo was also strolling around calmly, his eyes passing over each of the beast eggs, checking their attributes. Name: Poison-tailed scorpion. Grade: Talent: None. Attribute: Poison. Bloodline: Senior Commander level. Skill: Name: One-horned deer. Grade: Talent: Treading water. Attribute: Normal. Bloodline: Intermediate Commander level. Skill: Name: Flying frog. Grade: Talent: Moist body. Attribute: Water. Bloodline: Intermediate Lord level. Skill: Lemo walked slowly towards the depths. Along the way, Lemo saw a few good beasts, such as the flying frog, which not only had talent, but also had a bloodline that reached the middle lord level. There is also a royal beast named Poison Pattern Dragon, which is a sub-dragon species. But Lemo has no choice to rush. After all, the front is ahead. There are also a large number of beast-controlling eggs whose properties he has not checked. Time passes minute by minute. Limo is still choosing quietly. And at this time, but his eyes lit up. His eyes were fixed on a beast-controlling egg. Name: Unicorn Insect Demon. Grade: Talent: Muscle Control. Attributes: Insect, Fighting. Bloodline: Intermediate Monarch level. Skill: There actually are Monarch level beast-controlling eggs. Limo was surprised, but the expression on his face did not change at all. He opened the breeding warehouse directly and came to Sundao holding the beast egg. Have you made your decision? Sundao looked at the beast egg in Limo's arms with a look of understanding. That's him. Limo nodded slightly and asked inquiringly, can I sign a contract with it now? Of course. Now he is your property. You don't have to ask me about anything you want to do with him. Sundao waved his hand, looking very generous. After receiving Sundao's confirmation, Limo didn't hesitate at all. Spiritual energy surged in his hand, and he immediately signed a contract with the beast-taming egg, putting it into the beast-taming space. After, Limo said, by the way, brother Sun, I wonder if you have any fighting skills I can learn here. If possible, I would like to see it. You are actually interested in fighting skills. Sundao was slightly surprised, but he still nodded and said, it seems that you want to slightly improve your life-saving ability, which is also a good idea. As for fighting skills, we are an army here. How come we don't have such things? Come with me. After saying that, Sundao had already left the cultivation center with Limo and came to a warehouse. On every shelf, all have a large number of savings CDs. Here are the fighting skills collected in our base. You can watch them with your student card. Sundao introduced to Limo. But if you want to learn fighting skills, I personally highly recommend our military fighting skills. This is the strongest killing technique that federal experts have summarized from various martial arts after numerous simplifications. Limo nodded noncommittally. The reason why he wanted to see fighting skills. Indeed, part of the reason is that he wants to enhance his melee combat ability and maximize his current terrifying physique. But there's more to it. Still making plans for the one-horned insect demon. This is a fighting beast, very good at learning fighting skills. And Limo doesn't intend to limit herself to one genre. He needs the fighting skills in the army that Sundao strongly recommended. But the fighting skills of other schools also have important reference significance. Limo pondered for a moment and asked, Brother Sun, can I borrow these directly? Sundao, of course, as long as you leave here and return it, there will be no problem. That's right. Then please trouble Brother Sun and introduce him to me. No problem, I'll take care of it, brother. Next. Under the guidance of Sundao, Limo visited this place almost all over. Except for the fighting skills in the military. Limo also selected various schools of boxing such as Tai Chi and Bajikwan, which can be said to have gained a lot. After Limo returned home with a full load, Sundao also assigned him to a team. Limo at this time. It can already be said that he has a vicious reputation. So everything fell into place. No one gave him any more threats. Limo has also been officially integrated into this base. The following days, it's relatively bland, in addition to following the team to the dark border for reconnaissance and earning credits. Limo's remaining time, everyone is practicing hard on their fighting skills. It can be said that a rising tide lifts all boats. As for the eggs of the one-horned insect demon, there are no signs of hatching. And a few days later, several soldiers, including Limo, were all summoned together by Sundao. I believe everyone should know, at this point in time, what is the purpose of calling you here? Sundao crossed his arms and said angrily, ha ha ha, isn't it time again to beat up those grandsons at base? Ha ha, I can't wait for a long time. This exchange will definitely give them a taste of my power. That's right. Listening to the chattering of people around him, Limo didn't understand the situation very well at first. Now I know a lot about it. People gathered here. It can be said that he is the elite among all soldiers. And they come next. It's time to head to another nearby base. This is also an unwritten rule among the bases. In the absence of Beast Tide. This moment in every year. An exchange meeting will be held between the two bases. But it's an exchange meeting. Be well. But in fact, it's just to cause trouble. Come and show that you are stronger than them. although it has no practical significance. But everyone in the army is a brave and ruthless person. So it's that time of year. The soldiers at each base were all very enthusiastic. Ahem, everyone, be quiet. As soon as Sun Dao spoke, the scene immediately stopped. Li Mo, although you were a student, according to the rules, you are also qualified to participate, so don't embarrass our base. Of course, if you perform outstandingly, in addition to the normal task credits, I will personally give you another father. When Li Mo heard this, his eyes immediately lit up and he said immediately, "Don't worry, brother Sun, I will show the prestige and momentum of our base." Seeing Li Mo's eagerness to try, all the soldiers couldn't help but feel sad for their opponent. Li Mo's strength, now they know it, definitely monster level. Unless senior military officers take action, there will be absolutely no one who can match him. Dark Border, base number 67. An aircraft descended from the sky. The hatch opens. Under the leadership of Sun Dao, Li Mo and others walked out slowly. Haha, Sun Dao, you guy, it's really been a long time since I last saw you. With a loud laugh, a thin middle-aged man was walking quickly. Chen Shang, I'm sorry you were so enthusiastic. Could it be that your soldiers can't wait to be beaten up? I don't know. It's not certain who will hit whom when the time comes. The man named Chen Zhang's face immediately darkened and he retorted directly. I've known you for so many years, but I still don't know you. You're just a bit more talkative. Sun Dao curled his lips disdainfully. HMPH, you guy, don't you think you can fight with me now? Chen Shang roared coldly, and the spiritual energy all over his body soared into the sky, and his momentum surged like a tide. Aren't I afraid of you? Sun Dao was not to be outdone, and his spirit and momentum continued to surge. Boom! The two spiritual energies collided in midair. The surrounding earth shook violently. As expected of the top officers of the two bases, all of them have reached the level of 5-star psychic powers. This was the first time Li Mo saw Sun Dao take action, and his expression was slightly condensed. You two, this is an exchange between soldiers. If you start a fight, there will really be no way to end it. The adjutant behind Chen Shang quickly spoke. Humph, in that case, I'll let you go. I should say this. The two glared at each other fiercely, but they all restrained their spiritual energy and momentum. Everyone, please come with me. Seeing this scene, the adjutant also hurriedly made a gesture of invitation. Under the leadership of the adjutant, everyone came to a very huge battlefield. It's surrounded by walls, but there is no roof, revealing the blue sky. Here at this time, there are already dozens of base soldiers on standby here. Saw the crowd coming. All the soldiers had evil eyes. The soldiers behind Sun Dao also stared back. A strong smell of gunpowder. It rippled through this place. Ahem, I believe everyone knows that the exchange meeting between the bases is to promote the relationship between the two parties. The adjutant came forward and kept talking the same old words. So the battle between the two sides is just about controlling the beasts, and there can be no behavior of attacking the beast masters. CFDB, let's invite soldiers from both sides to appear. Xu Fei, the first game is yours, don't disgrace our base 67. Chen Shang pointed at a big man nearly 2 meters tall and said. Hey, don't worry, boss. Xu Fei sneered and walked towards the venue. Li Mo, come on. Sun Dao looked at the other party with a rather amused expression on his face. Li Mo walked forward with a calm expression and stood directly in front of the other party. Ha ha ha, is there no one in your base 66? How can you take photos of such a young boy? You are not still in school, are you? Xu Fei glanced at Li Mo and laughed wildly. That's right, I think this kid hasn't been weaned yet. It would be really embarrassing to take it out. Xu Fei, please be merciful and don't beat him to tears. The teammates behind Xu Fei also burst into laughter. If words work, there will be no need to fight this battle. Li Mo said with an indifferent expression. Okay, I want you to know that this kind of thing is not something that a new recruit like you can participate in. Xu Fei shouted loudly. A 5-pointed star array appeared in front of him. A huge figure has jumped out of it. Name, Zuo Shanhu. Level, Lord First Level. Talent, none. Attribute, normal. Bloodline, low Lord level. Skills, tiger roaring in the forest, violent claws, death culling, lightning and stone fire. Li Mo glanced at the majestic tiger calmly, and just raised his hand slightly. Come out, ancient blue wind dragon. The five-pointed star appears. A dragon roar resounded throughout the world. The ancient blue wind dragon, which was more than 3 feet away, had already flapped its wings and appeared in the sky. Oh my god, this is a pure-blooded dragon. How could a beast master of this level appear? It's troublesome now, Xu Fei is probably no match. Chen Shang looked at the ancient blue wind dragon, and the corners of his mouth twitched slightly. He didn't expect it either. Li Mo looks like just a student. There is such an exaggerated beast control. I declare now that the battle has begun. The adjutant also recovered from his shock. After announcing the start of the game, he immediately retreated to the edge of the field. The ancient blue wind dragon, use the dragon's breath. The ancient blue wind dragon opened its mouth, and terrifying energy gathered in his mouth, and finally spewed out in the direction of sitting mountain tiger. Mountain tiger, lightning and stone fire, run away quickly. Xu Fei shouted hurriedly. There is no need for the master to give orders at all. Feeling the strong danger, the mountain leopard's body began to flash rapidly. Boom! The terrifying dragon's breath bombarded the ground. The entire battlefield was shaken violently. Fortunately, the material used to build it here is very special. It is enough to withstand the battle of beast control. There was no huge damage. The speed is pretty good. But it's just running away, which means nothing. Li Mo sneered and spoke again. The ancient blue wind dragon, use the storm blade to compress his dodge space. Following Li Mo's orders, the ancient blue wind dragon flaps its wings. Endless winds rippled. Wind blades directly enveloped all directions, cutting ravines on the ground. Under the attack of the ancient blue wind dragon, the mountain tiger can only keep dodging. But as time goes by, his range of movement has become smaller and smaller. It's now, the ancient blue wind dragon, the sun blade joins the sun. The 3 wind blades in front of the ancient blue wind dragon quickly gathered together, forming a sharp edge that tore everything apart, and landed directly on the body of Zuo Shanhu, who had no room to dodge. Boom! A terrifying roar resounded. A lot of smoke and dust filled the air. Everyone's eyes widened when they saw this scene. Wait until the smoke clears. Zuo Shanhu had fallen to the ground and lost the ability to continue fighting. So strong, is this the power of the Dragon Clan? This kid is really too strong, and he's in big trouble now. The soldiers at base 67 looked at Li Mo with solemn expressions. They no longer had the carelessness and ridicule at the beginning. Seeing Li Mo's ancient blue wind dragon resolve the battle within a few rounds, the adjutant was stunned for a moment, and finally announced. The winner of this battle is base 66. The next 2 opponents will be invited to appear. But after hearing the adjutant's words, Li Mo remained motionless and said to the adjutant. Actually, there's no need to bother. Just let them go up together. I'll fight them all by myself. As soon as this sentence came out, the entire battlefield fell silent. The adjutant's eyes widened even more. I feel like Li Mo is too arrogant. The other soldiers also looked angry and looked at Li Mo with evil eyes. They admit it. Li Mo is very strong. But want to deal with them all alone. I really don't know what it means. This boy. Sun Dao smiled and shook his head. He had guessed that Li Mo was so high profile because of the credit method. But he didn't say anything to stop it. Anyway, communication between bases. Just ruining the place. Except that no one can be killed. There are no specific rules. Be able to pay some price. Hit Chen Shang hard in the face. He thought this deal could be done. Don't look at me like this. If you want to teach me a lesson, just do it now. Li Mo looked at everyone with indignant expressions, and the smile on his face was very playful. Still, you are afraid. Following Li Mo's words, the momentum all over his body also rose to the sky. Perhaps this momentum is not as powerful as Sun Dao and Chen Shang, the 2 5-star beast masters. But it was full of killing atmosphere. It must have gone through countless bloody trials before it could be condensed into shape. Feel the momentum of your master. The ancient blue wind dragon also fanned its wings, and extremely powerful dragon power burst out from his body. Asshole, this kid is too arrogant. Let me come, I will teach him a lesson. All the soldiers' faces turned red and they released their beasts one after another. Although the strength of these beast masters varies, the weakest ones have all reached the 9th level of command. The one with the highest strength reached the 3rd level of lord. Put these people outside. All are countless masters. These people are all comrades who have been together all year round. There is almost no verbal communication. Several beasts have found their own positions and formed a battle formation. Their faces were all very solemn. Because they know. At this time, they took action together. Then you have to win. Otherwise, their base would be completely slapped in the face. The adjutant glanced at Chen Shang with some embarrassment, and found that the other party had no objection. He sighed helplessly and directly announced, "The battle begins." As soon as the adjutant's words fell, some soldiers have already taken the lead in giving orders. The flying winged mantis entangled him with a dance of swords. Iron-winged birds, use the air to kill them. Storm bird uses violent storm wind. Quote. Big-billed gull, jet of flames. In an instant. Under the orders of all soldiers. The beasts with the ability to fly all entangled towards the ancient blue wind dragon. The other beast masters also launched distant attacks. All of a sudden, the ancient blue wind dragon has fallen into an unavoidable and difficult situation. Boss, if this continues, Limo may capsize in the gutter. A soldier whispered to Sun Dao. You don't need to say anything. Sun Dao glared at the other party and looked at the field again, with a worried look in his eyes. After all, judging from the strength shown by the ancient blue wind dragon just now, to completely resist the attacks of these beasts, it's really difficult. Facing all this, Limo looked extremely indifferent and said calmly. The ancient blue wind dragon, with full firepower, activate the elemental amplification and storm blade with all its strength. As Limo finished speaking, the ancient blue wind dragon roared loudly. The dragon power all over his body has exploded to the extreme. Under the influence of this force, all the beast-controlling movements were severely slow. Tisk, tisk, tisk. Between the strong winds, countless wind blades have swept across the entire place. These wind blades seem to be magical weapons that can cut everything. Cutting through the air easily. It fell on the bodies of the surrounding beasts. Puff, puff, puff. Several flying beasts were the first to bear the brunt. A huge blood mark appeared directly on his body. Blood splattered, falling feebly from the sky. And all this is just the beginning. The ancient blue wind dragon seemed to have turned into a mobile fort at this time. A series of strengthened wind blades, continuously wreaking havoc on the entire audience. Even if there is a beast that can resist at once. However, under the continuous bombardment of the ancient blue wind dragon, he continued to retreat violently and was eventually seriously injured. In the face of this absolute power, everyone's command seemed pale and feeble. And this is also the ancient blue wind dragon. The most terrifying aspect of the elemental amplification talent. As long as his power is not exhausted, unless the opponent's strength far exceeds it, or want to get close to it, it's definitely a very difficult thing to do. How could something like this happen? The adjutant swallowed hard as he watched the wind blades fall on the ground, leaving terrifying ravines. Now, Chen Shang gritted his teeth, as if he had made a decision, and took out his communicator. Over time, the entire battlefield was already in a mess. Wait until the raging wind gradually dissipates. All the beasts were lying on the battlefield in a state of confusion. Although under the instruction of Limo, the ancient blue wind dragon had already avoided the critical point, putting their lives out of danger. But I want to keep fighting. It is also an impossible thing. We lost. Several soldiers looked pale and said this sentence with great difficulty. Limo is so powerful. It was simply beyond their imagination. Although they still have some beasts to control. But even the main force of the beast masters has been defeated, so letting them play again has no meaning at all. The adjutant also had a bitter look on his face as he announced, Base 66 won. Quote. Hear the sound of victory being decided. All the soldiers lowered their heads in shame. Before this exchange game begins. None of them expected it. How could things develop for such a long time? This is the end. Then what are we doing here? All the soldiers at Base 66 looked at Limo sweeping the field with wry smiles on their faces. Although it makes Base 67 so miserable, they are also in a good mood. But this kind of duel that had nothing to do with them gave them a very strange feeling. Should this exchange competition be over? Sun Dao looked at Chen Shang with a proud face. Who told you? Chen Shang gritted his teeth and said. Don't think that only your base has such talented students. Just wait, they will be here soon. Oh, Sun Dao raised his brows slightly and said with a smile, in that case, I'll see what kind of confidence you have. While the two were talking, 770, in the distant passage. Indeed, a tall and pretty woman wearing a military uniform walked out. Yes, it's Lin Ruoxue. It seems that Boss Chen Shang asked her to come. Haha, great, I will definitely teach that guy a lesson now. Seeing Lin Ruoxue's arrival, all the soldiers at base 67 were shocked. Lin Ruoxue, is she from the Lin family in Beihai? Looking at Lin Ruoxue, Sun Dao mumbled secretly. Haha, you're here. Seeing Lin Ruoxue's arrival, Chen Shang immediately greeted her enthusiastically. Promise me and you won't break your promise. Lin Ruoxue spoke slowly, with a very cold tone. Haha, of course, as long as you can defeat that boy, there will be no problem with the credits or anything. Chen Shang immediately patted his chest. Good. Lin Ruoxue nodded and walked towards the battle site. Lin Ruoxue, are you Lin Ruoxue from Beihai College? Li Mo looked at Lin Ruoxue in front of him, his eyes shining brightly. Beihai College, same as Imperial College. They are all one of the few colleges in the world, with a long heritage and history. And Lin Ruoxue was in front of her. He has also heard some rumors. Definitely one of the most dazzling talents in this Beihai Academy. It's me. Lin Ruoxue nodded lightly, glanced at the ancient blue wind dragon that had fallen from the sky, and said, you must be Li Mo from Imperial College. I didn't expect to meet under such circumstances. Quote. Have you ever heard of me? Li Mo looked a little surprised. Of course, your ancient blue wind dragon is enough for anyone to remember. Lin Ruoxue nodded seriously and said, I hope you won't underestimate yourself. Among the major colleges, you are definitely one of the strongest freshmen at Imperial University. That's it. Li Mo touched his nose. Unknowingly. He has become so famous. Okay, don't talk nonsense here. Let me teach you how strong your ancient blue wind dragon is. Lin Ruoxue spoke softly. I only saw her gently waving her hands. A five-pointed star formation was already in front of him. A humanoid beast standing upright has appeared in front of everyone. Name, Giant Monster. Level, Commander of the 9th level. Talent, Strange Strength. Attribute, Fighting. Pedigree, Intermediate Monarch level. Skills, Flame Fist, Impact Fist, Megaton Boxing, Rush. Trolls just showed up. 1 foot has already stepped hard on the ground. The terrifying power stirred up in all directions. The entire battlefield began to shake violently. An extremely ferocious momentum burst out from his body. Every time I see Lin Ruoxue's giant monster, I feel terrified. The giant monster has a monarch-level bloodline, definitely not inferior to the ancient blue wind dragon. All the soldiers in base 67 looked at the giant monster with excited expressions. It seems that this giant monster has been cultivated quite well. Li Mo's face slowly showed a dignified look. The beast in front of me. It is definitely a powerful enemy of the ancient blue wind dragon. Roar! The ancient blue wind dragon roared angrily. The terrifying dragon power burst out, pressing in the direction of the giant monster. The giant monster was not to be outdone, and its aura soared into the sky. The next moment, the momentum of the two collided in midair. The surrounding ground began to shake violently. Everyone secretly swallowed when they saw the two of them showing such a tense confrontation even before they had a duel. I declare that this battle has officially begun. The adjutant did not dare to hesitate and spoke immediately. Come on, giant monster, use dash to get close to the opponent quickly, and then use megaton punch. After hearing the master's order, the fighting spirit in the giant monster's eyes was as real as the muscles on its legs began to expand rapidly. Next moment, his entire huge body had exploded. Because the speed is too fast. The entire battlefield erupted with bursts of sonic booms. Ancient blue wind dragon, use the storm blade and don't let him get close. The ancient blue wind dragon roared, its wings quickly flapped, and endless strong winds raged in the field, with wind blades sweeping away in all directions. Wind blades crisscrossed in all directions. The earth was torn apart in an instant. But it didn't touch the giant monster at all. It turns out I don't know when. Soldiers present. The figure of the giant monster has been lost in his eyes. The ancient blue wind dragon, the opponent is in the sky, the source of its use. Li Mo's psychic induction immediately locked the opponent's position and shouted orders to the ancient blue wind dragon. Hear Li Mo's words. All the soldiers looked up subconsciously. All he saw was that the giant monster was high in the sky, falling like a meteor and slamming into the ancient blue wind dragon. The ancient blue wind dragon also saw the giant monster, and the dragon's breath in the air spurted out instantly, heading straight for the giant monster. Spiritual magic, floating. Lin Ruizu's handprints changed, and a spiritual spell had covered the giant monster's body. In an instant, a giant monster that originally had no ability to fly. It was as if there were wings behind him. He forcefully dodged the dragon's breath directly in midair. Started to quickly approach the ancient blue wind dragon. Well done, troll, with the fire fist. The giant monster clenched a fist with one hand, and the flames burned on the surface of the fist, and a hot breath filled the air. The ancient blue wind dragon uses the blue dragon claws. Looking at the giant monster falling from the sky, Li Mo quickly issued an order. The ancient blue wind dragon's dragon claws were raised, and the rich dragon power surrounded the dragon claws, directly facing the giant monster's flaming fist. Boom! The flaming fist and the dragon claw collided in midair. A huge roar erupted directly. The terrifying air waves were centered on the ancient blue wind dragon and the giant monster, rippling in all directions. Everyone around them subconsciously raised their palms, blocking the strong wind coming towards my face. Under everyone's gaze, the figures of the ancient blue wind dragon and the giant monster flew out at the same time. The giant monster's figure rolled several times in midair, and finally landed hard on the ground. Click! Countless cracks appeared at the feet of the giant monster, spreading in all directions. The ancient blue wind dragon's figure moved backwards. The 3 dragon claws left 3 deep ravines on the ground, and finally slammed into the wall. The ancient blue wind dragon roared angrily. A look of pain appeared on his face. The dragon claw that had received the opponent's punch was trembling slightly. After all, the giant monster is a fighting beast. He also possesses the talent of strange strength. Close combat. Even if the ancient blue wind dragon belongs to the dragon clan, it will definitely be at a disadvantage. Haha, great, come on, giant monster, and kill the ancient blue wind dragon in one go. Others also noticed this keenly. All the soldiers at base 67 became excited. Even Chen Shang had a smile on his face. Humph, it's just that you have a slight upper hand. What are you happy about? Yeah, they are really a bunch of worthless guys. The soldiers at base 66 were not to be outdone, but there was still a hint of worry on their faces. There is indeed some trouble now. If the ancient blue wind dragon wants to win, it cannot let the giant monster get close to it, but it is not easy when it is injured. Sun Dao frowned slightly and became a little anxious. But right now, Li Mo, however, squeezed the sealed Ju with his hand and swung it towards the ancient blue wind dragon. Spiritual magic, spring breeze inserts. Under the power of healing spirituality, the pained look on the ancient blue wind dragon's face was wiped away. Do you actually have healing magic? Lin Ruizu's eyes wrinkled slightly, and then she said, I just don't know how many times you can be cured. Hercules, use dash. The giant monster stepped on the ground, and with a violent roar, its entire body rushed towards the ancient blue wind dragon. Don't be afraid, ancient blue wind dragon, elemental amplification, storm blade. The ancient blue wind dragon looked up to the sky and roared. Terrifying wind blades shot out in all directions. But faced with the attacks of these wind blades, the giant monster showed unprecedented flexibility. Even facing some unavoidable wind blades, just use your hard body to carry it. Even though it left a huge blood mark, it still kept approaching the ancient blue wind dragon. Finally, he arrived in front of the ancient blue wind dragon. Giant monster, use your full strength, megaton boxing. I am also waiting for this moment. The ancient blue wind dragon, with elemental amplification, uses 7 blades in one. Almost at the same time, Lin Ruoxue and Li Mo issued attack instructions at the same time. Lin Ruoxue wanted to decide the outcome with a close attack. Why doesn't Li Mo want to create a situation where the other party can't evade and fight head-on? Next moment, The giant monster punched with both hands, and the terrifying power distorted the air, leaving afterimages in midair. 7 wind blades appeared around the ancient blue wind dragon. Almost instantly, they had gathered together, forming a terrifying edge that ripped apart the heaven and the earth. Boom! The forces of the two collided directly. Terrifying shock waves rolled away in all directions. At this moment, the earth cracked open at a speed visible to the naked eye. All the soldiers retreated with horror on their faces. And at this moment, the figure of the giant monster had flown out and hit the ground hard. And on his chest, there was even a deep scar visible to the bone. Hercules! Lin Ruoxue screamed and could no longer keep calm. Roar! The giant monster roared angrily, but stood up from the ground, and even though the blood was dripping on his chest, his eyes were still full of fighting spirit. Although I appreciate your ability to control beasts, the outcome of the battle will not change at all. Li Mo waved his hand and issued an order. Ancient Blue Wind Dragon, Elemental Amplification, Storm Blade. The strong wind picked up again in the venue. Wind blades swept out one after another, shrouding and throwing them in the direction of the giant monsters. Boom, boom, boom. Violent explosions sounded one after another in the field. A series of ravines appeared on the ground, facing the wild bombardment of the ancient blue wind dragon. Even though the giant monster was full of fighting spirit and was seriously injured, it still lived up to its original flexibility. A large number of scars appeared on his body. Come back, Titan. Lin Ruoxue could no longer look past it, and directly summoned the 5-pointed star array, taking the giant monster back into the beast-controlling space. What do you want to do? Are you ready to admit defeat? When Li Mo saw this scene, he said calmly, "The rules of this battle don't seem to say that you can't change the beast." Lin Ruoxue shook her head and said softly, "Next, if you can defeat my strongest beast, it won't matter even if I admit defeat." As soon as Lin Ruoxue's words fell, the 5-pointed star array did not disappear. A loud cry resounded in all directions. Comes with the name. It is a looming white lightning. Wait until the light of the 5-pointed star array completely disappears. An extremely huge behemoth, with wings spread as much as 3 feet, has appeared in the sky. Name: Thunder Purple Winged Eagle. Level: Commander of the 9th level. Talent: Quick Spell Casting. Attribute: Thunder, Flying. Bloodline: Low Overlord level. Skills: Thunder falling from the sky, Thunderous Roar, Tearing Claws, Flying back. It turned out to be the Thundering Purple Winged Eagle. Oh my god, I was lucky enough to meet a beast master with Overlord level bloodline. Seeing the appearance of the Thundering Purple Winged Eagle, everyone let out bursts of exclamations. Because of this beast, it also has a great reputation. You can even feed on dragons. It's beyond my expectation that such a master beast is hidden. Li Mo looked at the Thundering Purple Winged Eagle hovering above Lin Ruoxue's head, a solemn look flashed in his eyes. Although in the past battles, he leaps and kills enemies just like eating and drinking. But the biggest reliance, it is nothing more than the terrifying bloodline of his own beast that is beyond other beasts. Under the circumstances of bloodline crushing, this kind of thing is not uncommon. But the Thunder Purple Winged Eagle in front of him is different. His bloodline has reached the Overlord level, and he is definitely a very rare and powerful enemy. Come back, Ancient Blue Wind Dragon. Li Mo waved his hand gently, and the 5-pointed star array emerged, taking the Ancient Blue Wind Dragon back into the beast-controlling space. Go, Xiao Mo, I'll leave him to you to deal with. As Li Mo finished speaking, Xiao Mo, who had long been unable to bear his fighting spirit, had already jumped out of Li Mo's arms. I only saw his figure growing bigger in midair, and finally turned into a huge thing about a foot away. Looking at the Thundering Purple Winged Eagle in the sky, he looked up to the sky and let out a long roar. This is the Wind-Chasing Wolf. You want to use the Wind-Chasing Wolf to fight against the Thundering Purple Winged Eagle? Are you kidding me? How do you grow your brain? This is the master of the 9th level beast. With the blood of Chasing Wind Wolf, he will never be able to grow to this point. Even so, is it still stronger than the Ancient Blue Wind Dragon? Yes, and the Thundering Purple Winged Eagle has the ability to fly. It would be unwise to send out a flightless beast. Seeing Xiao Mo's sudden appearance, everyone started talking. But overall, they don't think much of Li Mo. Even everyone at base 66 had a look of worry on their faces. After all, compared to the thundering purple-winged eagle with a notorious reputation. More than the unknown Xiao Mo. It's really hard to inspire confidence. I announce that the battle has begun. The adjutant waved his hand and his steady voice resounded throughout the venue. Spiritual magic, Leiyun. Lin Ruoxue was the first to take action, only to see the spiritual energy surging all over his body, and the runes in his hands changed erratically and finally soared into the sky. In an instant, originally clear sky, it has become cloudy. A large number of thunders flashed in the dark clouds. The thundering purple-winged eagle even shook its wings and soared into the sky. Crackling, endless thunder fell on the thundering purple-winged eagle. But it didn't cause any harm. Instead, the aura on his body was rising steadily. He actually has the spiritual skills to create a fighting venue. Now it's even more troublesome. Sun Dao looked at the sky covered with dark clouds, and his heart sank. Xiao Mo, keep charging up at all times. When Li Mo saw this scene, his expression was not moved at all, but he calmly walked downstairs. Thundering purple-winged eagle, roaring with thunder. Lin Ruozu's voice was still echoing in the air. The thundering purple lightning eagle had completed its attack, and a roar of thunder had fallen from the sky. This is the terrible thing about his talent. No matter what kind of trick, he can even skip the step of accumulating energy. It started in an instant, and exert its full power. Xiao Mo, use your speed to avoid it. Xiao Mo nimbly jumped to the side and dodged perfectly when the roar of thunder was about to come. Boom! Terrifying thunder struck the ground. Endless thunder exploded. The earth shattered in an instant. Thundering purple-winged eagle, thunder falling from the sky. The thundering purple-winged eagle screamed, only to see endless thunder nets forming under him in an instant, and thunder fell like a violent storm, one after another. Everyone looked at the endless thunder. I just felt a panic. But in the face of these thunderous attacks, Xiao Mo's performance was very calm. He could only be seen using his super speed, and his body kept flashing in the entire battlefield. It's often a very thrilling, leaving opportunity for thunder. Terrifying thunder kept falling. The entire battlefield was destroyed in a state of disarray. But there is no real one. Cause any harm to Xiao Mo. There is something interesting about this beast. This level of dodge ability is really amazing. Sun Dao looked at this scene with a look of surprise in his eyes. It would have been difficult to dodge such a dense attack. Not to mention, these attacks are still thunder. Has unimaginable speed. If this wolf wants to do this, in addition to possessing extraordinary qualities, it definitely has keen judgment ability. Otherwise, even if Li Mo could sense the thunder, he might not be able to issue orders in time. It's amazing that it can be done to such an extent. Quote, when Lin Ruoxue saw this scene, she also took a deep breath and praised her heartily. Thundering purple-winged eagle, descend a few positions. Upon hearing Lin Ruozu's order, the thundering purple-winged eagle immediately swooped down. After realizing that there was nothing he could do about Xiao Mo, Lin Ruoxue directly changed her strategy. As long as the thundering purple-winged eagle is closer to Xiao Mo, his attack speed will be faster, making it harder for Xiao Mo to dodge. Although this way, it will also increase the risk of being attacked by Xiao Mo. But as the thundering purple-winged eagle continues to decline, although the speed of lightning falling is faster, but Xiao Mo's speed is also getting faster and faster. The entire body has left numerous afterimages in the battlefield, to the point where it is difficult to distinguish with the naked eye. Spiritual magic, falling rain. Lin Ruoxue could no longer hold back. She made a seal with her hand, and as the Qing army waved, countless arrow rains composed entirely of spiritual energy were already heading towards Xiao Mo's direction. Don't think you're the only one who knows spiritual magic. Li Mo smiled coldly, and when he waved his palm, the illusory hand quickly formed in midair, and continued to grow in size, slapping hard at these arrows. Boom, boom, boom. The sound of horrific explosions resounded. The power of the illusory hand and the sword rain cancelled each other out, and disappeared into the air at the same time. Now, Xiao Mo uses Aurora. Upon hearing Li Mo's order, Xiao Mo, who had been feeling aggrieved for a long time, let out a long roar. His whole body turned into a rainbow, and rushed towards the thundering purple-winged eagle at an unimaginable speed. Xiao Mo who transforms into Cheng Hong. The speed has reached extreme speed. But in the blink of an eye, It had already flown tens of meters away and began to quickly approach the direction of the thundering purple-winged eagle. Everything happened so fast. Thundering purple-winged eagle, knock it down. Lin Ruoxue quickly ordered in her heart. In an instant, countless thunderbolts have gathered together crazily, shrouding Xiao Mo's direction. Too bad, he can't move freely in midair. Sun Dao saw this scene. His expression was immediately shocked. In his opinion, at this time, Xiao Mo was like meat on the chopping board and had no ability to dodge at all. But the next moment, something happened that stunned him. I saw flames surging under Xiao Mo's feet, and he quickly changed directions in midair, narrowly avoiding all the lightning strikes. This is also a move developed by Xiao Mo under Li Mo's suggestion to overcome his weakness of being unable to fly. Next moment, Xiao Mo rushed towards the thundering purple-winged eagle again. Spiritual magic, destruction attribute attached. Li Mo pointed out with one hand, and Xiao Mo's momentum began to rise. Xiao Mo, charge up, flame claw. Xiao Mo, who had already arrived in front of the thundering purple-winged eagle, saw endless flames burning on his two front paws, and his figure directly passed by the thundering purple-winged eagle. Phew, a lot of blood spilled into the sky. Feathers fell from the sky one after another. The thundering purple-winged eagle, which was suddenly hit hard, immediately lost its balance and fell from a high altitude. Bang! The thundering purple-winged eagle hit the ground hard, and the surrounding earth immediately cracked. Xiao Mo, compress, roar with flames. Xiao Mo's figure swooped down from the sky, the endless heat in his mouth was gathering crazily, and a beam of red flames, compressed to the extreme, spewed out from his mouth. Everyone stared at this scene blankly. Just now, they thought the outcome was decided. The thundering purple-winged eagle will win the final victory. But I didn't expect it. The situation changes even more quickly. Boom! The flames bombarded the thundering purple-winged eagle. An extremely violent roar erupted directly. The escaping flames swept away in all directions. The whining sound of the thundering purple-winged eagle was continuously transmitted from the flames. Come back, thunder purple-winged eagle. For the first time, a look of panic appeared on Lin Ruoxue's face, and she quickly recalled the thundering purple-winged eagle into the beast-controlling space. After discovering that although the thundering purple-winged eagle was seriously injured, its life was not in danger, I was greatly relieved. You won this battle, and I will remember you. Lin Ruoxue took a deep look at Li Mo and trotted away from the battlefield. He immediately wanted to treat his two beasts. Although the beast-controlling space has certain healing capabilities. But such a serious injury, if not handled properly, it is likely to leave hidden wounds. After Lin Ruoxue's back disappeared from everyone's eyes, they woke up from a dream and exclaimed in surprise. Oh my god, Lin Ruoxue actually lost. What did I see? The original purple plastid was defeated. With this background, does he also have overlord-level blood? All the soldiers looked at Li Mo with awe. The strength shown by Li Mo. Let them not even have the thought of catching up. This is a dimensional gap. It can't be made up for by hard work. Sun Dao, you fool, where did you find such a little monster? Chen Shang walked up to Sun Dao with a bitter look on his face. Haha, I'm jealous. Sun Dao laughed proudly, but in his eyes, there was also unconcealable surprise. Even he felt the slightest threat from the strength shown by Li Mo. CFEJ, he is a 5-star beast master. He is definitely a rare strong man. But feeling threatened by a 3-star beastmaster was simply outrageous. With Lin Ruoxue's defeat, this exchange between the two bases, it also ended with a resounding victory for Base 66. After Sun Dao ridiculed Chen Shang, he didn't stay here longer and started taking the spaceship back to Base 66. A few days later, Li Mo returned to the boring base life again. I will practice fighting skills when I have time. And pay attention to the changes in the unicorn insect's demon beast egg. And on this day, the piercing sound of the alarm echoed throughout the base. Everyone immediately dropped what they were doing. Begin emergency gathering. Wait until everyone arrives. Sun Dao also began to pass on information. Emergency mission. Green Forest City, which is closest to our base, is currently being attacked by a beast tide. We need emergency support now. Above, everyone is aboard the aircraft. Following Sun Dao's order, all the soldiers were already heading towards the aircraft in an orderly manner. I didn't expect to encounter such a thing. What a coincidence. Limo followed behind the large army, his eyes flickering slightly. This support mission. It's almost over. Although he has earned a lot of credits, there is still a small gap between him and the purchase of Void Wood. This time, a tide of beasts attacked the city. It's definitely a good opportunity to brush up on credits. Wait until Limo gets on the aircraft. Sun Daosai issued specific tasks to everyone. Most of the beasts that Green Forest Room encounters now are flying eagles and demonized areas. Most of the strengths of these two beast masters are at the elite level. But apart from them, there are also a lot of other beast masters. I hope everyone will be careful and don't be careless. Sun Dao spoke slowly and angrily. Once we arrive in Green Forest City, the most important task is to rescue ordinary people and escort them to air raid shelters. Unless something is impossible, don't tangle with these beasts. Having said this, Sun Dao looked at Limo and said, "Besides me, you are the strongest person in the base. In addition, you possess the ancient blue wind dragon, which gives you a very obvious air superiority, so I hope you go to the 19th district of Green Forest Room. The location there is quite remote and should not have been affected by the beast tide. I hope you can save as many civilian lives as possible. Don't worry, I'll leave Richie to me," Zemo said solemnly. Green Forest City. The city lives up to its name. This is a city full of life. 1,000-year-old trees can be seen everywhere. If not, you can see traces of modernization. I'm afraid everyone would think so. This is an inaccessible primitive jungle. But here at this time, it has turned into a hell on earth. Countless beasts launched a crazy attack here. The aircraft from Base 66 has landed on the edge of the city. All soldiers were deployed according to the previous strategy. Start taking action quickly. Limo also directly summoned the ancient blue wind dragon, jumped up, and stepped on the ancient blue wind dragon's back. The wings of the ancient blue wind dragon shook, and its figure had already risen into the sky. The scenery below passed quickly in Limo's eyes. But Limo didn't fly out for long, as a large number of flying eagles appeared in front of him. Ancient blue wind dragon, kill them, Stormblade. Following Limo's order, the terrifying wind blades have been sweeping in all directions. These flying eagles, whose strength is only at the elite level, although numerous in number, are not at all the enemies of the ancient blue wind dragon. But in an instant, countless flying eagles have been split into two. Endless blood spilled into the sky. Limo also activated spiritual tools for defense. All the way, Limo riding the ancient blue wind dragon is simply unstoppable. Finally, Limo arrived at the destination of his trip. District 19, Green Forest City. It is indeed very remote here. It can be said to be a real corner of the city. However, although this place has not been affected by the beast tide, the sirens are still ringing, and countless civilians are already in chaos. Yes, he is the beast master of the military department. Great, someone is finally here. Everyone looked at Limo falling from the sky, as if they had found a backbone, and immediately surrounded him. Don't panic, everyone. Although the city is currently being attacked by a beast tide, support from the military will continue to arrive, and this crisis will definitely be solved perfectly. Please follow my guidance and go to the air raid shelter in an orderly manner. Limo stepped on the back of the ancient blue wind dragon, and the sound continued to spread. Okay, we all listen to you. Looking at the majestic ancient blue wind dragon, everyone was immediately filled with confidence. Everyone follow me. Limo immediately led these people towards the air raid shelter. Follow the flow of people. The surrounding crowd also began to gather. Limo even released Xiaomo and asked him to find other civilians who were alone. From time to time, some civilians screamed and were brought to the team by Madoka. The first escort went very smoothly. The largest crowd was safely sent to the air raid shelter by Limo. Next, Limo made several round trips. With his psychic sensing and Xiaomo's sense of smell, he constantly searches and rescues the people here. Fortunately, it is located in a remote place. The number of civilians is not very large either. Limo can barely keep busy by himself. This is also one of the main reasons why Sundao asked Limo to act alone. These should be the last ones. Limo looked at the 10 civilians following him and breathed a sigh of relief. But right now, the ground around him began to shake. Demonized rats, which were shaped like tigers and leopards, had emerged from the ground. A cursory look. There are tens of thousands of these demonized rats. They stared with extremely scarlet eyes, and the expressions on their faces were extremely ferocious. Has the beast tide spread here? Li Mo frowned slightly. So many demonized rats. Even he can't guarantee everyone's safety. Li Mo pondered for a moment, and stretched out a hand, like a real and illusory hand that continued to expand on the earth. All of you, jump up. Li Mo shouted to all the civilians. Good. All civilians did not dare to neglect and jumped up. Let's go, ancient blue wind dragon. Li Mo shouted softly, and the ancient blue wind dragon's figure had already risen into the sky. Some civilians who had never experienced the feeling of flying kept screaming at the illusory hands. The ancient blue wind dragon flies quickly. The spiritual energy in Li Mo's body also began to be consumed rapidly, so he had to take out the spiritual fruit from the space ring to keep himself in good fighting condition. This journey has been quite smooth. After killing a few lone flying eagles, Li Mo finally sent these civilians to an air raid shelter safely. Everything should be settled now. Li Mo breathed a sigh of relief. But the next moment, his brows frowned slightly. Turn around and look behind you. I only saw a figure not far away walking slowly. This is a middle-aged man. He was covered with a dark cloak. And on the cloak, there is a strange-looking beast inlaid. Are you, from the evil beast cult? Li Mo looked at the beast control mark on the opponent's cloak, his pupils couldn't help but shrink slightly, and said. It seems that this beast wave has nothing to do with you. That's a very correct answer. A smile appeared on the middle-aged man's face and he said. I have to say that your action just now was great. It basically saved the lives of all civilians in this area. Geniuses like you have always been what we have longed for. How about you, do you want to join us and welcome the real truth? When it comes to this, the expression on the middle-aged man's face looked extremely excited, and his eyes were full of enthusiasm. I'm really sorry. I really have no interest in becoming a beast-controlling slave. A sneer appeared at the corner of Li Mo's mouth, and he refused without hesitation. That's really a shame. The middle-aged man shook his head slowly and said with great regret. Why do you want me to kill a genius like you with my own hands? Although the middle-aged man's words were full of regret, it's his look, but it became more and more crazy. Silently, a huge 5-pointed star array has appeared in front of him. Next moment, one is huge, a huge crocodile that was 2 feet away, already appeared in front of Li Mo. Name: Iron-clad crocodile. Level: Lord level 6. Talent: Steel skin. Attribute: Iron. Bloodline: Intermediate Lord level. Skills: Steel bite, Iron flying blade, Storm movement, Death collision 3. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.